hello. When last we left off, the Left Stars, specifically Drada and Flint, had returned to the Burning Needle gambling hall, intent to make an acquaintance with an individual named Hardhold. Some money was lost, and a questionable connection to a brandy buyer was gained. Thanks, Sean, for bringing that to reality and having me figure out what that means. But Drada was ultimately able to make a seemingly good impression with Hardhold and learn of his needs. Hardhold has information, but is sort of holding it back until Drada can prove themselves. And so, particularly, there's an issue of collecting a blood debt to the Burning Needle, a vampire gambling den that you learned, of one Lieutenant Pott, who you all later learned is a contact of Clack's. You all discussed much in the evening, but with Selnivon's cruise trail growing colder by the day, you posit whether or not Hardhold, being a vampire, would have any leads on things related to Francis's death. And after a night's rest, you all wake up. I think everybody is already long rested. Not that there was too much resource loss in the previous day, health-wise. You are in the Tirok and Murda Tiern family residence, still in the Northern Heights. I think some of you have arrived a little... Well, you all went to sleep around the same time because you were talking, but Aesop's family had gone to sleep a little earlier, and so I think some of you are jostled, woken by the sounds of continued intense workouts by Tirok outside as you all prepare for your morning. You all gather in the living room, preparing your spells, etc., etc., and the day is yours.
Guys, I don't know what it means for us, like, right now. But I think Avendir paid off the fines on my boat, and it's being fixed? Maybe I could use the notebook to, like, send him a thank you note?
Yeah. Let me pull it out. What do you want me to write?
That's a good question. Thanks for getting our boat back?
While we're sending him a message, do we think Avendir would know anything about this Master Krex guy? He's got like an airship and does some transportation stuff and may or may not have some involvement with vampires.
I think it's a great opportunity to find out.
We're writing him a note anyways.
Probably be delicate. Maybe it's worth its own page, not just a thank you so much. Hey, you know this suspicious guy? Do you know him? Like, maybe that's 2 messages, not one.
I mean, if we have a whole page, we could just start with the thank you at the top and then...
That's true.
But
maybe we could say we're trying to, like, meet him, we're trying to see him. Should
we're
we...
looking into something. And yeah.
There's a possible connection there. I'll put that. Possible connection with Master Krex from Consonant.
He runs a shipping company, we think?
Runs a shipping company, question mark? Do you know the guy, question mark?
Or know someone who might?
I'll send it on that.
I didn't write that down. Could you just type that to me on while everybody else is figuring out their morning? Could you just send me a Discord message with your specific thing, which includes a thank you from Mouse, I assume?
Yes.
So what's on our agenda for the day? We're going to talk to Pepper Potts and register a guild.
That's what I thought we were doing. I mean, it sounds like a big day. Big day for the left stars.
If they give us a choice in location for where our like guild hall is, do we think we want it here in Consonance somewhere, or in like Horizon, or some other location?
Well, I think consonants probably makes the most sense. It's large. It's let me just, and again, as centered as things can be. It's not all the way at one of the ends.
Yeah, it's true.
If you take something like Dusklight or Bind, and Bind would be neat just because that's where Avendir is going to be, and so that'd be a good base of operation. But the problem is we're really kind of good travel from anything at that point.
Yeah.
I will say that you would know that larger guilds at least would have a base of operations in multiple cities, though they might be headquartered in Consonance. Which is not to say that the Left Stars are about to build an enterprise, but that, like, if you wanted to expand, if you had the means and desire to go down that route, you could potentially expand.
Your question, like, do we have to, like, pay rent for our guild hall?
I think Avendir's covering all that.
I mean, hey, if he wants to pay Consonance prices, he's welcome to pay Consonance prices. So,
And for up to 1 year, I believe, is what the contract says.
Let's see here. Treasuring.
I assume this is signed Aesop or Love Aesop.
It is signed Love Aesop, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Aesop writes a message to Avendir and closes the book. It's pretty early morning, and he may or may not get to you right away, but you know that the message has gone out.
Perfect.
Yeah. So cover application fees, startup costs, property costs, and salary for up to 5 support staff for a year. And I don't know, we'll renegotiate at that point. A year's so far away.
It is. I'm gonna send out a message. I don't know, DM. Tell me whether or not I specifically set up a time with Poppy today to meet up in my previous message last night. I think I would have.
Yeah, I think you would have if you want to just tell me when that is.
We'll just
afternoon, evening.
I will say afternoon.
Okay. Yeah. So, and you would have gotten like a response back saying sure. Like, Poppy doesn't seem to be, at least based on your insight in that moment, busy today. So.
I am actually going to send out a message to Savvy because, well, it's early morning. How early is it?
You message her mid-performance. You probably want to wait like an hour.
Okay.
You expect she's probably sleeping or has like the night shift schedule.
I see. Okay. Oh, wait.
Well, you certainly have options in front of you. You know how it works, though, getting up and around the marble walls instead of going straight through them. So what is on the table for the short term?
I think we had said Clax, Mouse, and Drada? we're gonna go talk to Potts.
Mm-hmm.
I think Grotto was going to more lurk, but yes.
Were you doing that
Okay.
during the day, or are you going to do that at night?
Plan on go during the day.
God.
I mean, I'm happy to be there. However, you think she will respond best.
I think Mouse is pretty, just, unassuming, kind of low key. I don't want to show up in force for this conversation, but just in case, for whatever reason, something goes sideways, wouldn't hurt to have you around.
Disguise myself when we get closer, just to keep things low key.
Sorry, I was listening and also writing what will be Aventyr's response. But what is the direction folks are going?
Quax, Mouse, and Drata are going to head on to Van Centery to see if we can't locate Lieutenant Pott.
Okay.
Which should Aesop and I head for the and deal with the guild hall stuff, or do you guys want to come to that?
Yeah, I'm not that good at paperwork, so.
I gotta stay within at least the Northern Heights district. I did set up a little friend date today. I didn't know what our plans were, so
It's fine. Recruit him to come work for our guild.
she's a great artist, so she could definitely liven up the whatever building that we get.
Maybe. I don't know if we need artists or not, but
All right. So Aesop is staying local. Flint, are you just gonna solo trek all the way down to the
I guess so.
Guild Federation?
we'll go get us a guild.
I was going to say, if you want, you can tag along with us.
Oh, yeah, I'm fine with that. And then we'll just, as a group, go get the guild afterwards.
Sounds like
Okay.
a plan.
All right.
Okay. Cool.
Face up. Have fun.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, we will go with the larger group of the two first. You all prepare yourselves, and Aesop, are you just sort of like chilling at home for a few hours? While you wait for your date.
I think I would practice everything that I've learned so far in the backyard. With
Okay.
the shield, put on the armor. At least take like an hour or two just to like go through the motion and start to become comfortable with actually wearing something heavier on my body.
And your dad's still around, at least for a little bit, to help if you would ask for his help. But your parents do have things that they do during the day, and so it wouldn't be long before they're sort of out and about.
Mm-hmm.
They're not really like homebodies. They kind of helping to set up. I think they probably would have told you, like, with Eridarin and Hardak making the return trip back to the Svan Island, Tirok has sort of volunteered to just sort of like make sure everybody's homes are secure and like trimming the yards of some of the people in the neighborhood, things that like the housekeeper that eventually like the lone housekeeper that was sort of like underpaid to take care of everybody. So a few things that fell by the wayside. Tirok is sort of just like making the rounds around the neighborhood and doing some like basic chores, and the mother is trying to get news about happenings in the city so that there can be sort of like a return feast sometime next week to sort of celebrate everybody's return and break.
Right.
So your mom's just sort of like figuring out the logistics for that and sort of party planning, so to speak.
I would actually ask, maybe a little late in case on the answer, but would it be possible to get like a signed paper by the recovery squad to be able to get through the marble walls? Do we have access? Does our organization have access to get in there? I feel like it'd be easier to travel around this large city.
Your mother replies, as you're just sort of talking about this after the rest of the folks leave, and says, well, all of our air traffic comes into the horns. So generally we are kind of outside of the realm of the marble walls. However, it is such that we can schedule meetings to get inside and meet people that we need to. Basically, she indicates that there are like contacts within the marble walls that she can use to get a writ of passage, but that they don't have like 24/7 entry.
Okay. Just curious.
And usually it's for like a business purpose, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, but you do some practicing, hanging out. The rest of the party, you all travel into the Van Century, the northern sort of most district of Consonance here early this morning. What is your sort of, I know Clax, you often just sort of like keep an eye out for folks on watch, but are you, with you and a lot of your party here, is there like how are you going about this?
So, knowing the standard watch patterns, I would try and think of a place that would have kind of a pretty public and open place. Kind of, how do I word this? It's almost like in the movies when someone goes and they meet up at a cafe, right? Like it's a public place, it's a safe place, but you can still have a conversation essentially to yourself. So whether it's the Temple of Apos, whether it's around one of the squares, whether it's by the lake, something like that, where the watch would go, that it's a public place, but you could still have, I don't want to call it privacy, but you could have a conversation without people necessarily listening in.
Okay. Yeah, they have a number of like small parks and whatnot. There's sort of like a central fountain here that a lot of the like Van Century is sort of one of the more like water themed districts of the city. And there's, as opposed to like, not that there is necessarily a theme for each and every district. However, this being, Aesop would know this, where the Temple of Apos was, there's like just different like miniature aqueducts and whatnot that come in order to sort of create this kind of like pleasant middle class or upper middle class neighborhood. You don't really find many problems here, and so you sort of mingle around the area of the fountain where a lot of this takes place. Is anybody sort of doing anything to help with this? And Clax, you can go and roll an investigation just for starters.
We're just trying to just spot
somebody
from the guard?
to spot sort of a guard presence or anything.
He would help out with that, I suppose.
I can guidance.
Sure.
I was gonna say, for my role, I don't think guidance is really gonna help me, so maybe you help Flint.
Or if somebody else wants to roll separately.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a little better.
Okay. Yeah, a 26 is excellent. You sort of start to mingle around this area, and you do see sort of some guards that are heading into the, I'd say it's more something that you spot. I didn't make a perception check, but something that you spot is that there's a guard who's sort of wearing like brass armor of sorts, nothing too fancy, that has a shield on their back, and you sort of see them running to go link up with another guard at the edge of this fountain area. And very quickly, within the span of like, this may be happening 40, 50 feet away from you. But Flint, you sort of see this like little commotion as the guard is saying like, come, he's this way. We need some backup. And there's the second guard, who is sort of this halfling looking figure, starts to chase after the first guard.
Clax?
Yeah, what's up?
I think there's a kerfuffle going on this way or something.
Where?
Point to the guards that are
Yeah.
running off in a hurry.
You see the familiar shape of a guard who you know is Falco, that is sort of like dawdling off around a corner, seeming to be running or sprinting in a northern direction before they sort of turn the corner out of your sight. They seem to be heading sort of initially north, but then turning to an eastern corner.
All right, let's go. See if something's going on. And take off after.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
Don't know if
Follow.
anybody's following me, but I'm going.
I'll follow
Oh, I was going.
Yeah, I'll go. I'll preemptively disguise self into add Drada just in case we end up meeting.
So at the time of this being spotted, they were already like 40, 50 feet ahead of you. And they are functionally taking the dash action. So you are, is anybody trying to get, like, I know some of you can run faster than others. Is there an intent to stay together in this moment?
I thought previously that I had become a draft horse. Is that not true? Have I always been an elk?
I probably forgot to make that token. So we could just use the elk for now, but you would definitely have a horse.
Elk seems a little conspicuous. I'll become a horse.
Okay, I'll use the elk token just because I don't have the other one on hand, but Mouse just shifts into this horse that doesn't have any kind of saddle or anything, but nonetheless is rideable.
I suppose Flint will attempt to ride this unsaddled horse with all of his extensive horse riding knowledge.
You know, that's just how it works sometimes.
But then, yeah, so seeing this, Clax is... The goal is to gain ground, but still keep a distance till he understands what the situation is. But he's dashing and taking off.
And Drada will dash as well, but won't use the entirety of his movement. He'll stay with or behind the
Okay. And same with the horse.
Yeah, my original thought was that Clax could be on the horse because that seemed intimidating. But I will keep up with Clax until I am shooed away.
I mean, that's sort of up to you. If you walked over to Clax, Clax is going to be the one to jump on, not Flint.
I didn't say this out loud. I just became the horse. So what happens, happens.
Well, who did you walk over to?
It sounds like you just jumped on the horse, Flint.
Fair enough. I'm on the horse.
Okay, you all start to dash to keep up with the commotion that you heard from a distance. You sort of enter this sort of larger. It's not an alleyway. Like this is sort of one of the roads that runs between a number of different homesteads, and you see sort of a group of guards that are all sort of like hopelessly chasing this individual who is wearing sort of flowing blue robes and sort of like giggling the whole time. I see that Sean stepped away, so I'm going to pause. So I don't.
Nope, I'm
Oh,
right
you're
here.
still here. Okay, got
Yep,
it.
just grabbing a beer.
Got it.
Need it for the next scene.
All good. You see an individual who is being hopelessly, sort of like toying with these guards. Somebody that you've dealt with before, Clax. This is an individual named Mirren, sort of like a playful Air Genasi, like drunkard who, like, sort of always dines and dashes. They're not like, they're completely harmless. They always end up paying their tab at the end of the day. but they seem to enjoy this ritual of getting chased by the guards, and sometimes they'll spend a day in the jail. But you sort of like see in the horizon as Lieutenant Pott, Marigold, your former squad mate, and a group of people, some of which you recognize and some who seem to be newer recruits, sort of are going through this ritual that you've seen before, of chasing after this blue flowing robe, as you hear the sort of giggles and shouts of "Woohoo! You'll never catch me!" As this guy is just sort of like dawdling down the street. I'm going to bring you over to a map just to kind of give a visual representation. And then you can tell me how you will or will not engage with this situation.
Ooh.
Lieutenant Pott is here in the middle, and I kind of just created a row, but it's sort of, this is sort of like an active chase, right? I'm not going to be moving them every tile necessarily unless we get into a combat situation, but it's sort of like this guy's keeping an active like 70 feet away at all times. And you just sort of see like a little bit of hopelessness in the squad ahead, but you hear the shout of the lieutenant saying, "Get him! Flank from the side. We'll cut him off." And you see two individuals start to run like down this alleyway, sort of in an attempt to do just as she says. And she's sort of like leading the front as her guards some of the guards that are with her are on the side. But what would you do in this instance?
So, seeing two of them go down the left, do I know what's to the right? Like, is it a parallel street? Is it dead? Is it a dead end? Anything along those lines?
This is a largely residential neighborhood. There's alleys that lead into other alleys that are sort of like somebody's back door.
Okay, so we wouldn't get stuck if we went up and around.
There might be the occasional obstacle, like some boxes that are out, but at this moment, there's you don't know what to expect down every alleyway, but that's a residential area.
I think I'd turn to Flint and Mouse and say, go to the right, go down 5 blocks, 5th block, cut up and come back down. And my plan is to have them kind of go down and kind of pen him in. And again, you don't have to hurt him. He's fine. Just go block his escape.
Does Mouse take off?
Yay! And yes. That 50-foot movement speed, doubled if I'm dashing.
Yeah,
I don't know how many feet are to a block, but I go for 5 blocks.
There's this larger alleyway that you can sort of get into before you start to make the turn and follow those directions.
As Mouse takes off really fast, I'm gonna just try and quickly be like, "Clax, go get him!" and cast haste on Clax.
Oh boy!
Which doubles your movement and gives you a second action that you can use to dash. So you're really fast.
Upon feeling this, I'll just look at Drada and be like, "Time for you to keep up," and off I go.
Okay. Drada, what are you up to?
Drada will go. This all feels so excessive. And we'll take his full movement speed, which I think puts him. Let's see if this puts him in spell range. No, it doesn't. Never mind. I will still say this feels so excessive. And we'll take. No, just kidding. I am, because would you say Dread Ambusher applies here in that I can get 10 extra feet of movement on a first round?
If you want this to be like you wouldn't get an attack if a real combat happens, then sure.
Yeah. Cool. So with that puts me, I think, Does this put me in range? That's my dad. No, not there. God damn it! It still doesn't.
Don't you have?
I just.
Like, because you can bonus action dash as well.
I know. I just want to do a thing, and I wanted
Okay.
to make. It was going to be a bit, and the bit can't happen. And it's
You can regular action dash if you still wanted to do.
no. At this
Okay.
point, I will move forward and then kind of duck into this alleyway here, and start to climb up a wall and get to the roof to get a bird's eye view of what the fuck's going down.
Okay. Bring you up onto a roof as you just sort of like grab the handholds of different windows and bricks and just sort of flip up on top. Eighth up is on the map just for vision, player vision sake, just so you know. But Clax, you with this, your movement speed is functionally
120 if I dash.
Well, it's 180 up to 180
Oh,
because you
with
can
the-
dash
with the-
twice if you really want to.
Well, let's start with the 120 for the first dash, and on my way past Pott. Long time no see. We need to catch up soon. Talk to you later. Just like fly by,
What the? Hey,
and then I can't take an action if I run past. But what do I want to do here? I think as my action, I'll just yell at Mirren. Mirren, been a while. Why don't you slow down? I need to catch up with some people, and this is taking up too much time. So please just help me out today.
he says, "Oh, you're on the chase too." And then he, instead of disengaging as a bonus action, now he is dashing as well. Or sorry, not. He was previously dashing and taking the dodge action, and now he's double dashing to try to get some distance from you as well.
Yeah, like I said, that I took that talking as my action, unless you're gonna let me dash again. Still.
No, well,
Yep, that's fine.
yeah.
Yep, all good.
You can get up to him, but I think you can get up to him without having to. Talking as a free action, but
Well, that's 120 is where I'm at. Is 120 feet.
well, you can get 180 per round because you can
Yeah, that's what I'm
dash
saying.
twice.
Yep. So if you will let me,
Yeah,
then
go
I'll
ahead.
get to him. I know I can't grapple or do anything, but I can
Yeah.
at least get up to him.
So I'm gonna move everybody back because again, this is just sort of like a row
Yep.
of pretend things, and so we're having a chase that sort of like extends beyond the boundaries of this map. He chooses to not disengage, which means you do get a reaction against him, but he does end up moving 115 feet as a result.
Yeah. If I get a reaction, I would attempt to grapple him, but if not, then I'll just.
You can make an attack. I don't know if you can grapple as a reaction.
Probably not.
No, you cannot grapple as an opportunity attack unless you
No.
had like a maneuver for that. Which I don't.
No, I
you do.
think I just yelled. Seriously, I really need you to slow down today. It's not one of those days.
Well, you still have. I mean, so are you going to spend your reaction at all?
Well, again, I don't want to hit him. Like it's one of those. I guess I can try and trip him. Can I make a attack
Yeah, you do have.
thing?
You do have your
Big
superior
rookie.
die for trip attack, don't you?
Uh,
Oh no, you don't. Sorry. That's
yeah, I don't have trip attack. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can. Yeah, I don't actually know mechanically what you can do. Truth be told.
Nope. I mean,
But you are about to catch up to him because his movement is 115 and you can move 120 with still having an action. So,
Yep.
The crew of your associates moves forward. Drod, are you sort of just hopping roofs trying to keep up?
Full Spider-Manning. Full Spider-Man.
All right. And your movement, you can functionally, we'll just put you here for now. That's 60 feet as you're just hopping from one roof to the other. I think that the horse is making distance, but at this moment is still sort of like in a different lane. So I'm going to move everybody back again as we just sort of go into the
My
next.
movement speed is 70.
Okay, fine. Move
Oh,
10 more feet.
absolutely dare you.
Clax.
I will go ahead then and catch right up, and then I told you need to slow down. I don't want this to go on too much longer, and I'm going to attempt to tackle him and grapple.
Okay. Go ahead and make a. I think it's an athletics roll. He's going to make a acrobatics.
Oh, he's probably going to beat it. Ooh, he did not.
Not that great. He's like, oh, hey there. He's you like give him a bear hug, and he just sort of like looks up at you with like a playful grin.
Long time no see, Marin. Good to see you, but I really need you to slow down today because I need to talk to these guys. So let's get this over with. All right.
He is going to attack you. Let's see. I think he's just going to attack you for now. But he's going to use his dirty fighting attack, which on a 25 does hit, which means that you are paralyzed until the end of his next turn. He slips out of your grasp and starts running. Actually, no, you should get a saving throw for this. I don't know why I didn't code a saving throws in. Make a Constitution saving throw. It would be DC 15. Yeah, it's stupid for me to not have saves on something so strong.
Like, I get like blinding and like death.
Ugh.
What does paralyzing as a single hit? Like,
this is like
you're just like throat chopping. Like,
yeah, this is like going for the nervous system. It's like
incredible.
grabbing the nerve clusters on Klax's back, and he says, "Not this time," and he leaves, and is able to get what is this? That is one of his actions, so he's able to get 70 feet away. And you are left in the dust for a moment. Anybody like in this period of time, he can make a little bit more distance, but he's going back to his dodge mode. He's actually not trying to get too far away from you all. So is anybody on the fringes, or specifically Drada in this one instance, doing anything?
My goal long term is to move as best I can without him seeing me to get in entanglement range, essentially. So if he's just dodging at this point, like, I'm happy going a little bit slower if he's not moving away as drastically.
Okay.
As drastically quickly.
Well, on this next round, you'd be approximately here when it comes to distances.
Okay. And that is that accounting for my movement?
Yeah, I just moved you 70 feet up.
I'm still not in entanglement range, so, and 70 would be a dash. So next round, if he doesn't move even further away, I'm just trying not to be seen right now.
Okay, I mean, you can double dash to try to get some distance on him. The thing is, he has the same base movement speed as you, so you're going to have to make up some ground.
Oh, that's okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I'll double dash.
Okay.
I'll play my favorite Mario Kart. Sure.
Klax, you see that he sort of, I keep just like moving tokens around, but he moves again and you come out of your stun. You see that he is now considerably farther from you again. I intended to move him just a little bit further. He's purposefully measuring your distance as he makes his moves. Drada, you will get a turn before he moves again. So, and around this time, I'm also going to move the horses. Not this turn, but next turn, they are going to be in this alley as he is making his way down.
So that's that, and then 1 second.
As you're sort of charging down as well, you see Klax, like, you don't see the sign of the two people that Pott had sort of told to go down an alley. You get the impression that they are just sort of like hopelessly behind, that they can't keep up with this. Even if they try to flank, he would have to somehow double back and turn the wrong way.
Yeah, regretfully, I don't Ooh. Huh. I do have an action. No. I think at this point I would just yell at Marigan. This is your last chance. I'm not going to give you another warning.
That's what they all say.
The shield comes off my back.
Okay. Drada, you would get your full movement and do what you want to do.
Wait, I'm now learning that I thought dashing as an action was like spellcasting, where like you can't do it twice, even if it's
Oh no,
a
you
turn, even
can.
if it's yeah, learning that now. Great.
Drada's like, I can be so much faster.
I can go so much faster.
Why am I holding back?
Gotta go fast. So with that, yeah. Bonus movement, bonus action dash gets me to here. Action gets me to entangle.
Okay. Before you drop the template, I'm just going to move people back so that we can be in horse position. So assume that this is accurate with the horse as well.
Is the horse? I did not actually. There's so many things about Foundry right now. Sorry. Oh, did not mean to put that there.
I will happily move it. It is all good.
Right. I did not mean to put that template there. That makes.
You assume you want it like here-ish.
Yeah, that's exactly where it would like to be. Yes.
Okay. Let me go ahead and roll for our good friend, who rolls a 16. I think it still is difficult terrain, and so it does sort of like you see as the vines are sort of around him. He's sort of like a wet piece of spaghetti. He's just sort of like slipping out of these tendrils of vines as they come to him, but they are still sort of like tripping him up a little bit. And he's like, "Oh, that's clever." And we'll go ahead and say Mouse. I assume you're just sort of coming out of the alley at this point.
Yes.
As you sort of charge out, this is sort of what you see as vines that don't seem to be grabbing this guy are. He sort of is looking like he's about to push past you all.
Like towards us or
Towards you? Yeah. Or Flint. I mean, Flint sees all this too.
Yeah. I'm trying to decide what Flint can do that is less than lethal. Problem is I'm concentrating on Clax, and if I let that go, Clax is like stunned for a round.
Okay. Do I have time to drop form and cast a spell?
Yeah, it's just is it a bonus action to drop form or free? I think you're fine.
Yeah. I'm gonna cast Wall of Stone.
Okay.
That's all.
One way to do it.
And I'm gonna make it so that it's essentially in a circle around this guy in Clax.
Okay. I'm just gonna. Well, okay. Yes. Go ahead and cast it if you would like. Flint, is there like you see Mouse? Oh, it's a weird template. I understand what you're doing though.
Cool.
Flint, is there anything like you see a wall start to raise from the ground? Is there anything you do before your vision is sort of blocked of this thing?
No, I think that handles it. I think I'll kind of just watch things unfold.
Okay. Well, you actually can't see inside anymore, but you'll listen. And I would say the wall is trying to read that quickly to see if Drada can even see what's happening inside him. I can't tell how tall they are.
I think
20
they're
foot.
10 foot.
Okay. I would say like Drada's angle probably can't see them, but if you hop onto the wall of stone Drada, you can see what's happening.
I was gonna say, is this something that I can potentially run up to and be on top of as it rises out of the ground, or do I not have the kind of time to be able to do that?
I'd make an Arcana check to sort of see if you have the wherewithal to know what's happening before it happens.
I've never seen Mouse do this before, so...
Okay, I'd say 15, you're like, all right, now's the time. Whatever's happening, I have to get here. And so you just sort of like get on the wall, and it's a little shaky as it raises you up.
Okay.
But Klax, you are now in here in an area that is still sort of like dense with vines, and Mirren just sort of looks at you and looks at the situation and says, well, this is a first. I have never had such a... Well, actually I have. Yes. Hi.
Are you going to stop now? Sorry. Are you going to stop now?
Fair is fair. He sits down in the vines. And allows himself to be like, he like starts placing vines over himself. It's not necessarily restraining him because he resisted the effect, but it's just like he is being
do me a
prone.
favor, face down, cross your legs, hands across your back. I'll take it from here.
I know the drill.
Then once he's that, I will essentially grab his feet from behind, push them forward, sit on them with my weight over his legs and his hands across his back. So there's nowhere he's going because he ain't moving this dragonborn. And then I'll yell out, "All right, guys, I think I got him. Thank you very much. Think we're good. Hopefully this wall comes down."
I think at some point, because pace only lasts a minute, at some point you become stunned as haste wears off.
Hopefully he
But
doesn't notice.
he either doesn't notice or doesn't move, and is just sort of like humming to himself, sort of content with the activities of the day. And you hear just sort of like the shouts of who you know to be the lieutenant, sort of banging on the walls from the outside.
Casually
the walls
down. I'll casually walk around the outside of the walls and like, Klax has got this guy. Do you guys have some like manacles or something you can throw over?
Put the wall down.
I'll drop the wall.
Good.
Roll a dexterity saving throw. All right, you're fine.
The chaos of this all. I'm assuming we're like thinking, okay, cool. We've got this, whoever this is, under control. Again, we're hoping nothing goes in this direction, but like would love to, in the noise of walls crumbling, just cast a hunter's mark on Potts, just in case.
On Potts, okay. Just a casual hunter's mark on a possible ally. No problem.
No, if she runs away, I want to know where she's going.
Okay. Eventually, Potts sort of scrambles up to you, Klax. Roll me an insight check. And your haste has ended, and you've recovered from it. Almost a 20, but 14 is good. She does not look too happy, as she sort of like, not with her full strength, but she sort of like takes manacles from the side of her belt and sort of like motions to shove you off, not actually shoving you off, but trying to get you away.
Do I get the impression she's mad at me, or mad at the situation, or mad at Mirren? Or can't tell?
With a 14, I would say probably all of the, a little bit of all of the above.
All right.
I think as this is happening, Flint is just attempting to casually walk away. try and make his way back towards Mouse or something.
It's
So, by the way, I will get off Mirren and
Yeah.
let her do her thing.
After not too long, you do see the other two squad mates start to approach from the other side, clearly out of breath, clearly not having been prepared for this. But Flint, you do sort of recognize that like everybody is seen. Even Drada on the roof has been accounted for as sort of being present here. But nobody is sort of like reaching for weapons. Nobody seems to be treating you all as hostile in any way for any reason. Pott sort of, in handcuffing Mirren is just like, enough of this. It's not funny anymore. All right, you're going to spend a day in jail. You're going to get out again. What's the point? And he's just like, it's fun. That's the point. And she sort of like, there's that look in the eyes of like, I really want to kick this guy, but she knows better in this instance, and just sort of like lifts him up onto his feet and sort of looks at you, Clax, and says, it may look like we needed your help, but last I checked, you didn't work for us anymore. Why are you
don't worry.
arresting criminals?
I came to talk to you, and since this was happening, I needed this to be solved to have a conversation with you, Lieutenant Pott.
Great. Amazing. What do you want?
I would like to have a conversation with you, preferably in private, but if you want to have it out here in the public, I will.
She sort of sighs and sort of like shoves Mirren to the two squad mates who like couldn't do the cutoff as well as she had hoped, and just says, just book him, send him to the Iron Lady, he'll be fine. We'll collect later. And they sort of like take him. He's not resisting at this point. He's had his fun. The tradition is that he's like, give me a history check actually, just for a fun trivia for Clax. No. Well, you know that he always gets out of jail. You don't know sort of the logistics behind that, but he starts to get escorted away as you see Falco and one other individual who you've never met just sort of carry him away. And she, with her two guards, sort of like are eyeing the lot of you and looks up at Drada and says, residents might not be very happy to have you on their private property. You might want to come down.
I'd also imagine residents wouldn't be very happy to have a chase happening in the alley behind their house, but okay.
They're happy when it's over. Are you coming down or not?
He fully, I think, like, comes down. I don't think he, like, joins the conversation in full, but, like, lurks in the alley.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Says, well, how private of a conversation do you want this to be? Because I've got work to do.
No, I'm going to ask you, how private of a conversation do you want to have about the burning needle?
Give me intimidation. With advantage, we'll say.
Okay. Yeah, I need that advantage.
Your dice.
All right, there we go. All
right.
right, 15.
In this sort of moment, her squad mates are behind her, and so they don't necessarily get the look on her face. But you have an eye of their face, and you see, I think it's Slilnir is the name. I forget. I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah, the gnome.
Yep, Slilnir.
Sort of like looks at you and then looks at this Aarakocra and just sort of says, sort of whispers like, what about the burning needle? And then she sort of like says, go take a break. I'll be joining you guys shortly. and that sort of shuts him up as they sort of wander off and nod a sort of polite salute, and they start to sort of walk away. She sort of like, there's sort of like a pause as she sort of like has a half eye cocked down the way that they went to sort of gauge that they're out of earshot, and says, "So, what? You
First of all,
leave
what
the guard and now you're into blackmail?"
No. Let's get one thing straight right now. I didn't leave the guard. Second of all, I can't believe you're not giving me any fucking respect at all after everything I did for this squad over the
You
years.
are not a
So I want
lieutenant
you to-
anymore.
You're damn right I'm not. So there's no reason why I shouldn't just put fucking fists right through your mouth right now, because you are
You want a day in jail, then that's your call. I know you've already been there before.
There won't be a day in jail. I'm here to get you out of trouble. So you got one option. That's to listen to me and explain to me what the fuck is going on with you and the Burning Needle.
Hey, buddy. I thought we were just gonna talk.
Who are
Is
your
in the
friends?
background
Why are
just-
they here?
But in the background, just muttering like,
So much for a private conversation. You're going to bring all your buddies.
You know what? You're right. Guys, can I have 5 minutes,
No,
please?
you know what? Let's meet them. Who are you?
Hi, I'm Mouse. I'm a friend of Clack's. It's very nice to meet you.
Bad friend to make, but continue.
I think maybe he's better than you give him credit for.
Well, his behavior over the last 2 minutes says otherwise, but you points towards Flint.
My behavior? You've treated me like a hostile enemy when all I did was help you out in a situation, and I'm actually here to help you? Yeah, I'm the enemy.
She looks like she's biting her tongue. She's insistent to get the names of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna, while we're going around with names, I'm gonna give Clax enhance ability charisma, because I think I wish I could calm emotions, but I don't have that prepared.
Flint somehow has some popcorn. But
yeah, it's part of your cannon. It has a little popcorn chamber
Yeah.
on the side.
It's the infusion you learned at level 9. Popcorn cannon.
I'm Flint. I am also with Clax.
Amazing.
You owe some people some money.
She kind of sighs at the mention of that and then turns to Drada.
Hi, I'm Ed. Really nice to meet you. Were y'all like a thing at some point? Because like this is
Just starting to no.
there's a lot of energy.
Yeah, and there's like that there's that synchronized no from both of them.
Are they lying?
You can roll
Yeah,
insight check.
insight check.
Insight check. Clax, roll me a d20 for what will either be persuasion or deception that I will do.
In theory, this is with advantage.
In theory,
Oh, yeah.
it is.
Ability.
Theory it is.
It doesn't give me the button on that one. I'll just roll another one.
Okay, so 17 plus whatever. I would say Mouse like seems honest. Drada definitely honest. This is they not fucking.
Disappointing.
And says, she sort of turns back to Clax and says, "Great, now that I've met everyone, you seem to have stumbled into my secrets. That's great. We can talk about that if you really want to. But last I checked, you were not working for the guards. What business of my business is yours? Are you investigating me from outside of the magistrate's command? Because that, in and of itself, investigating another lieutenant, probably a little questionable there. Not the first questionable decision you've made over the last month."
You just see Clax just like nodded up.
"Whether you got kicked out or left, I don't care, but you left me. And
All right.
I have tried to pick up the pieces of this ragtag squad, and I'm just trying my best, okay?"
All right. Let's get a couple things straight. Ragtag squad? Ragtag Squad, we were known as the Peerless when I left. What the hell went wrong? But back to your main question, and before I literally reach out and touch you, I'm involved because somebody else is pressuring someone else to collect on your money. And I can't understand how you would be in debt 500 gold. So before I say, sure, other people get involved, I want to hear your side of the story and to give you a chance to clear your name. Because if there's wrongdoing here, I am here to support you. If you don't talk back to me anymore.
She's like sighing and cursing under her breath and just sort of says, my situation is my business. Okay? I appreciate you keeping an eye out for me. I can take care of myself. No, we couldn't catch fucking Blue Cloak over here, but I can take care of myself. We're
obviously. I mean, that's why you're 500 gold in debt to a very disreputable.
You don't know what your departure created. You think that the lieutenant is the only one who is talked down to when the magistrate is unhappy with the performance of a squad? I had to pick up the pieces after rank and title and position and support were stripped from all of us. I am doing the best with what I can. I made a mistake trying to get some money to give us the supplies we need for extra training, for better armor, things that we needed.
So, walk me through the situation that got you 500 gold in debt.
Roll persuasion with advantage. She's sort of like, now you're both calming down a little bit.
Ooh, rolling great.
How do I make this better? Yeah, I can't come up with a thematic way of how I would flash of genius help somebody with a persuasion check.
I mean,
Zero growth.
I mean, this is an ongoing conversation, so if you interject somewhere, feel free. But she just sort of the immediate response says, "Why?" I mean, you said you're keeping an eye out for me. Great, but like, why do you need to know? What business of it truly is yours? Or don't you have things that you're doing that are more important than all this? Isn't that why you left? Surely you didn't just leave me and everybody else for selfish reasons, I imagine.
That
So
makes you feel better.
why are you still keeping an eye out on me if you're not supervising me, right? I thought you moved on.
Makes you feel better. We weren't looking into you. Your name just happened to come up in some other things we were doing.
Well, if my name came up in some other things you're doing, then you're probably doing things that you shouldn't be doing, which I know is hypocritical of me to say.
So self-incriminating.
There's like a lot of like deflection going on here. Like, just a lot. It's a lot. All right, let's go.
You're both right.
If it,
I'll say that at some point she's sort of like walking and talking. I would say like anybody's Mouse and Drada's passive perceptions are probably enough to be like, all right, we can't be like talking this in front of, like, shouting at each other in a neighborhood with windows, you know. So she sort of like pulled you off, and it's sort of a walk and talk situation now, so that nothing is said too loudly in one place.
Understood.
I don't know if it helps or hurts, but the rest of our group just wanted to pay the debt and not even talk to you. Clax just wanted to make sure you were doing all right. and hear your side of things.
Is that your flash of genius?
I guess.
There
That
you
ain't
go.
work.
Yeah.
Sure.
Listen. Regardless to your feelings about the situation, it's like I said, right? The team's fallen on hard times since your departure. I'm trying to rebuild. And you know what the salary is, right? I made a stupid decision trying to take a little shortcut. And obviously didn't work out so well for me. And I tried to set up some kind of plan for them that, you know, more of a long-term, take the top off of, I don't know, half my salary or something. I can sleep in the barracks. It'll be a long year, but, you know, we can work something out. But they wouldn't have it.
You do understand what their
Yes,
payment is.
But it wasn't clear to me when I signed the loan. Okay? I was...
Black's just biting his tongue. He really wants to make a smart aleck comic, but he's going to refrain.
Yes,
want you
I
to
know
stop.
what I'm in for, but if you know what I'm in for, you know the situation. I can't just, like, go out of commission for a week or 2 weeks as they drain me dry. You
Okay.
know?
So here's the deal. How much do you have saved up now?
They don't want it. I've already offered. It's not much.
No, but if somebody were to walk in with the 500 gold,
I don't think they would take it. These guys are standing on principle to even be asking this of me.
so what were you going to do in the meantime? What was your plan out?
Wait till we get our... I mean, once every couple of years, we get that one shift where for a whole season we get off. And you would know this. It's maybe buried in the document I gave you, but every like 7 or so rotations, or every 8 rotations, which is every 2 years, you get a season off.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah, and she's sort of saying, like, you know, it's not a shadow that I want to be chasing after me always, but I knew that I was safe because they are not going to come after the guard. But it wasn't... I was going to try to make it right. I just don't know that I can do it right now. And what am I going to do? Like I asked them for like a payment plan with money, and they said no, and I didn't really know where to go from there. Listen, it's... I don't know what your
payment plan with Bud. You drop by every couple of days for a while. Gives you time to recover and make yourself right. Or,
we don't really get
we even
days
talked about
off.
going in and helping you together. So
Well, that's ridiculous. All right.
sorry that we wanted to be kind and help you out as you were in an interesting, precarious situation.
Let me be clear. It's good to see that you've made some new friends, Clax, but let me be clear. I don't need your help anymore.
Pott, shut up. No,
What?
seriously, just stop talking. You're in trouble. You don't want to admit it. You don't want to ask for help. I don't care what's going on. To your point, I owe it to you and the team to help out one last time.
And how?
I'm going to attempt to negotiate to get you out of this situation.
She looks... I think everybody here can give me an insight check, but the DC is 20 It's actually pretty high.
I'll take that roll. I got a 5% chance.
Somebody is insightful.
Yeah. Mouse.
Not Clax.
Mouse, although I think it's very, very subtle, but when Clack says the words negotiate, Pott looks down towards his battle axe as if that's how he does, as if that's how she believes that Clax typically negotiates with people. She has, which to you, sort of like you've seen Clax in this different light since the Left Stars, but there's like a genuine look on her face of like what negotiation means, and it's a genuine concern that she shows when she thinks about what could happen. But you say you're going to negotiate, and she says, "That's just asking for trouble." All right.
Well, as you
Worst case scenario, there's 5 in our group. You make 6. Like, we should be able to knock this out quick. We'll just all give a little bit.
I don't know.
let's slow down there, Flint.
Say worst case.
And by the way, Pott, I know you've been extremely hostile to me and my new companions. This is the type of people I hang out with. They're willing to sacrifice some of their self to get you out of trouble.
Yeah, I would do anything for my team too.
But you're not my team. Or you're not on this team, and they're still willing to do it.
Admittedly, for a self-serving purpose that you've not even told me what that is yet, why are you dealing with the burning needle? And am I just a means to an end?
No, the means. Go right ahead, Mouse.
I was just gonna say, I think if a friend of Clax is in trouble and we have the ability to help, there's no reason not to.
She's sort of like feeling like stubborn, but also like defeated in a way. And she's just like, well, fine, go talk to them. All right. And if I need to take a sick day, I'll take a sick day, but I can't afford many of those. So, and
You're welcome. And just turns and walks away.
She just sort of like says, fucking, under her breath, she's just like muttering about this, but also keeping an eye at everybody else unless you're turning away as well.
We plan to talk with our voices, not with our swords.
Believe it or not, Clax is like not the worst at that.
Yeah, well, you haven't known him as long as I have, so.
We haven't.
And she turns and walks away in the other direction.
It was really pleasant meeting you. I hope you can run faster and catch more people and better in future. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.
Oh, you are just making good friends by last minute taunts.
I love Drada.
But you all, Flax is only like 15 feet away at this point as you kind of catch up and figure out your next moves.
Well, that was more eventful than I expected.
Wax just nods.
Honestly, could have gone worse.
Yeah.
So now we need to go back to the needle and you guys can have a conversation?
Yeah, I'm not. We'll see how that goes. Flint, go for it.
Well, I was just gonna say, do we want to head down towards the needle and the whatever it is, where we register the guild now, or do we want to wait and grab Aesop after his date or meetup or whatever it is?
I will sort of like putting something together for the characters that may or may not occur to the players, but depending on who you're trying to talk to at the Burning Needle, they won't be there till night. So keep that in mind.
Maybe we head back to Aesop's place and wait for him to be done, and then go register the guild?
Yeah, and maybe again we got maybe some more time to let certain folks simmer down and get out of their feelings. May not be the worst for all of us.
All right. You'll, it sounds like, head back to the Tiern residence with the intent to link up with Aesop. Not too much later. Aesop, you hang out in town for a few hours and head to Mother Mary's, where you've previously come to schedule something as well. During that downtime, you do see the distant journal light up with a response.
Hmm.
I'll copy paste it to you, but it says, of course, please tell Mouse that a memo had to be posted through Cloud Top Logistics with a description of the airship and a testimony from her friend Fern about its basic workings. I'm not sure how things are back home for her, but the airship is now registered, so to speak.
She'll like that. She'll be appreciative. Okay.
DM, what's registered? But at the bottom on the next line, it's Master Crex dash. I have not heard that name. Apologies.
I stopped thinking to himself that he seems to be a lot slicker and out of the public's eye than what we previously thought. Thinking, like, Aesop's going through the head of, like, does he know anyone in the transportation business? He does. Not willing to go speak to them. So, putting that thought to the side and, like, making that connection there of, oh shit, maybe I do know someone, but that's just a source that's just not going to be helpful whatsoever. And moving on to Mother Mary's.
Very well. You go to Mother Mary's. The afternoon it's a small kitchen, quieter time like usual. You arrive. Is Aesop the arrive early or the arrive late sort of person?
Based on who I am as a person, arrive early.
Okay. You arrive a little early, and both Mother Mary and Sky sort of greet you. Warm, amazing smelling things happening behind those doors. And Sky says, wasn't expecting you back so soon. You said something about adventures.
Well, those adventures are completed. Wild times outside of the main island.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Did you see blossoms?
You beat me to it. We did. We handed her the spices. She was thankful. Grateful.
What did she think?
Do you want to remind me, DM? It's been a hot minute since we did that.
Blossoms is just a joy. She enjoys everything. Finds a rainy day to be like a pleasant experience.
So she was pleasantly surprised and happy that the spices were given to her. Didn't seem anything of it. Is there? I know.
Good.
Oh,
I'm glad.
Okay.
I'm glad.
A lot of tension. Is there anything
Good.
you need to talk about?
Everything's great.
Are you sure? I mean, my friend's not going to get here for a few more minutes. Do you want to talk?
What? No. Why? What do you have a friend coming? Should I get some chili cooking?
Yes, I'm just worried. I'm worried about you. We've known each other for a little while, and yes, I do only come here to eat, and pleasantries are made, but
What are you talking about?
there's a lot of tension happening on
Tension?
your end. Yes, towards Blossoms.
Oh. No. Don't worry about it.
Can I make an insight check?
Make an insight check.
I'm genuinely concerned that murder might happen if she ever stepped foot inside of this building.
Generally, I don't like mind control insight checks, but I would say what you get is sort of like X's. It's like, and maybe there's like some kind of like competitive spirit behind it, like two chefs that are competing over to have like the best dish, and they're just sort of, it's like she's mad that Blossoms didn't find it too spicy or something like that, but that she's still glad that Blossoms liked it.
I see.
It's like a strange relationship. You're not sure.
Yes, a very strange relationship. Okay, so I'm talking to Sky, right? Not Mother
Sky.
Mary.
Mother Mary is just in the back room. You hear like light humming and the sounds of kind of like some kind of goop being stirred. That
I see.
Something wet.
Normal sounds, yes.
Yeah.
Is any table available? Anywhere I could grab, sit down?
Yeah, you're good. We'll be right out. And that's about that time you hear the door open and you see Poppy, who is I don't have the art readily available, but is a little goblin girl. Sort of pops out of the woodworks and says, "Aesop."
Hello! I'll like
Hello.
run in for like a hug. I'm like, I have to be on my knees to hug her.
Yeah.
So I like get down and I hug and just tell her that she looks absolutely amazing, fantastic.
She has all sorts of like paint splattered everywhere. Her eyes are like this vibrant shade of yellow, which is one of the like inspirations for her name. And she says, amazing. You are huge still.
Yes, it's been a while since we've seen each other, and I have probably grown since you've seen me, so it's not surprising.
Is there, because it's, as far as I know, this is sort of you're catching up with your friend, telling her about the job. Is there sort of like, you sit down, you get some curry. Is there any sort of like specific things that you're checking in on or asking about besides just sort of everyday catch up?
Well, I'm checking in if like how her commissions are going, how her jobs have been looking up. I think I would start the conversation with that and then transition into when I was last here, Mother Mary mentioned that there was a possible project for you in mind. She was thinking of you when talking to me about it, so that's kind of why I wanted to eat here.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, if anything needs painting, hit me up. I'll talk to her after lunch.
What kind of things have you been doing?
Just kind of more maintenance. People need or want houses painted, things of that nature. She has a sort of look on her face. You know her to be a more creative type, and so it's sort of like, sounds like she's doing a lot of like labor, but not
the
not
drudgery
fun stuff. Yeah. But says like, oh, but keeps the roof over my head. I have a place down in the precinct, and it's things are good. So
have you seen anyone else from the squad, Shori or Bruce?
No, I went to one of Savvy's shows.
Savvy.
Yeah, a little bit ago, but no, I haven't. Unfortunately, kind of lost touch with Jory. Just sort of on opposite sides of town because he's still at the university.
Yes, but he's not here. He's not at the. He's on like a TDY trip for a while. He'll be traveling for work for quite a while. You know, it was so embarrassing. I like sent out a message last night to
You
Savvy.
catch her up on everything, or
Yeah, so I'll tell her about like my message I sent it to Savvy last night while she was performing, how embarrassing that was. I'm like, oh no. And eventually going through all my updates with how I with everyone in the friend group, to then the conversation of was there ever any tension between me and Jory?
you're asking Poppy this.
Yes.
Out of character, would you have ever told people your feelings for Jory?
I think they developed while we were hanging out as a squad together. I think my question's more leaning into, was it noticeable?
Oh, I see. Okay. She says, I mean, nothing bad.
Okay. This might be a little crazy, a little strange. I think I have a crush on him.
Get out. And then
I know, right?
I'm
God.
That becomes its own like little gossip story. I'm trying to pardon me. I feel like this could end up being like an hour and a half gossip center, so I'm trying to expedite some of it.
No,
But
you're fine.
You catch her up on everything, and she is excited for you, and sort of like, basically she's like, yeah, just, I mean, go for it if that's what you want.
But he's untraveled though. And then I like totally missed our planned date one night because we had things to do in our group, and it's been, I feel like I'm just doing complete wrong things with our relationship. So I'm just worried, and I needed to talk to you about it.
Over the course of the lunch, she does her best to reassure you. She sort of is a team player, like all support all the time. She doesn't have any real advice. I think like it becomes apparent to Aesop that you were closer to Jory than perhaps she was. Like it was a squad, but like some of the things some of the things that you're saying are like things that she didn't even like notice, right? So like so it's very clear that like your frame of reference for that relationship is a little bit different than hers, and so she's just sort of playing the supportive friend. But I think as things are starting to wind down, she's just like, well, it's been delicious. If you got me a job, even better. So let me go ahead and take care of this one, and then
thank you. What?
And then
don't
like
have to.
No, it's fine. I mean, it's good to see you, and if you ever need anything painted, let me know.
You know, we might be I think in our conversation I would have talked about the left stars a little bit.
Yeah.
We might be getting a guild hall. Crazy, I know, but we might be getting one here. And I mean, I would love for you to paint it, or at least put your artistic design into it. Sure. I have to run it through the group first.
Sure.
So.
Well, use your magic to talk in my head, and we'll be in touch.
Yes. I am so glad I was able to figure out how to do that weird messaging system. But I'll definitely be checking in, because now I can check in with you guys.
Things wrap up. You hear that she goes to talk to Mother Mary. It sounds like that Mother Mary's planning an expansion on the kitchen, and not only wants some like infrastructure to be painted, but also wants like a little mural, which is right up Poppy's alley, something a little bit more creative, to help not necessarily draw in new customers, but it sounds like it's sort of like meant to test the waters over like, all right, maybe we can open up a few more tables, like in case people are interested. Right. They're not necessarily going to like advertise or promote it or anything. It's still sort of like an underground kitchen.
That's still exciting.
Yep. And you rendezvous with the party at the Tiern residence some hours later. Unless
was
you
actually
have
gonna
something to do.
say on the way back, I was gonna since it's been some time since early morning, I was gonna reach out to Savvy now that
Oh,
hopefully
sure.
she's
Yes,
slept
yes.
in, and just say, "Good morning. Sorry for the interruption. Hope you did well. Miss you. Love you lots. What's been happening? Love Aesop."
The response you get is like, Aesop, which somehow eats up like 10 words. And then she's like, things are great. I'll stop by. We got a lot to talk about.
I'll just do the spells afterwards, but I'll send another one and say, I'm in my parents' house. I have some friends with me too, and I can't wait for y'all to meet.
I'll be by tomorrow night. Yeah, see you then.
Bye. Oh, I can't respond back, so never mind. I say bye
It's implied.
out loud. Yes. Then I walk back.
Okay. The other team, as you're sort of walking back to the Tiern residence, anything you could talk about, or is it just sort of like letting the moment hang for a bit?
So, hey, Plax, are you okay?
No.
Do you want to talk about it?
No.
Do you want to eat your feelings?
No.
You want us to leave you alone for
God.
the rest of this walk?
Draga, I didn't hear. Sorry.
You want us to leave you alone and stop talking to you for the rest of this walk?
Yes.
I'm okay with this, but will you let us know if you need us?
Absolutely.
All right, I got an idea. So we're about to have an
I don't
airship.
like the way you said that. Sorry. Continue on.
So we're about to have an airship. What if we put advertisements on the side of it? We could give Mother Mary's free advertisement and then use it as a success story to get everybody else to buy marketing space on the side of our airship.
Flinch, the man of enterprise.
How big is the skyboat?
Sorry, say that again.
How big is the boat?
I mean, it's serviceable.
As in, 6 people could fit comfortably on it? Or 5 people?
Yeah, I think we established that.
Great. So here's my hot take. It might be cramped quarters, but we're thinking, where do we put a guild hall? We have so many options. Plot twist, what if our best option was a perpetually moving guild hall? A place that can deliver us to wherever our guild's needs are most required. We can advertise ourselves. There you go.
How does it work so that it can it just stay in the air indefinitely, or does it need to be recharged with spells or something like the last one we were on?
Well, it works a little differently than most of the ships we've been on so far. Sort of like the one in Savannah Island, except that it sort of recharges itself at night.
That seems handy.
I'm not sure how comfortable it would be as a home base. I don't remember our trip being particularly restful.
Didn't you also crash?
We stopped abruptly.
It was just a sudden land.
I'm sure Furnace figured that out by now, though.
I like this idea, though. If we could make it bigger somehow and have just a mobile guild hall, I like it. Maybe that's phase 2. Phase 1, we just have a normal guild hall.
Okay, so we have a year of Avendir paying our bills, and then in that year, we need to get Guildhall Mobile Edition up and running. Okay, we can do that. We
I
can do
like
that.
it.
All right, you all rendezvous with Aesop as you continue to posit over what's possible with this airship.
Now-
It's early afternoon, and you do know that you still have time to kill if you were to want to run another errand or two before going to the Burning Needle at night.
So when we said we met up with Aesop, we're at his residence.
Yes, presumably.
Does his dad have like training dummies out back or anything like that, or is it just he does like katas out there in the morning?
You have seen there aren't dummies, but there are heavy poles that you've seen him slash at that he uses as a training dummy.
Lax is out back, going to town.
I will catch everyone up, whoever's inside, on the possible relationship between Blossoms and Sky, as well as my date with Poppy went great, so we talked about all this stuff. She thinks that I should go for Jory, blah 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 blah. And then for Mouse specifically, Avendir did reach back to me. He said that your ship is registered with the Cloudtop District. Did I read that correctly? Cloudtop Logistics. They know what your ship looks like. And it's all registered. Which is exciting.
What is the point of registration? They got very up in arms when we didn't have registration when we landed. It sounds like it's just made up.
Roll me a history check, Mouse, because you did travel on an airship where that was registered before.
That's fair.
You didn't necessarily handle the paperwork, but you were present for it.
Good thing I'm great at history.
A 10, you don't know a lot. You do know that registered ships fly between, or sort of, that there's some record of them for whatever reason as they fly between skyports. Which sort of, in theory is like a way to be in the marble walls, at least temporarily.
Oh, maybe that means that we can land them without them getting mad at us.
We have a reason to be in the marble walls, at least. In case we need to be there.
I could message Fern tonight and see what the status is and if they could meet us here.
Yeah, that'd be great. And one final piece, no updated information from Avendir about the Crux guy. Didn't really seem to know who that was, but I'm gonna tell Clocks out there right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you probably hear the sounds of like intense chopping, like somebody's chopping a tree, except it's just this like very sturdy, reinforced pole.
I'll walk out back and be like, assuming the conversation didn't go too hot, and for that I apologize. This is Aesop thinking to himself, I don't expect you to turn around during the conversation at all. I asked Avendir about the Crux guy, and unfortunately he didn't know who it was, so this guy might be slippier and slimier than we previously thought. But I just wanted to update you. And I'll wait a few seconds for a response. Probably not getting one. And I'll walk back into the house.
Well, as I said, you do have some time for errands if you all do want to go somewhere.
Go register a guild.
We have time?
You also have, I don't know if you formally picked up your armor yet, but you could just stop by and have that if you don't have it already. I think I put it in your inventory, but it was like, don't equip it yet or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, I need to physically pick it up.
Yeah. Okay. Is everybody going to this what is the plan for Clax, knowing that there's things on the horizon for tonight, though?
All right, so I guess my question is, are they heading in the general direction of where Clax needs to be? Because they are going down to the factory precinct,
Yeah,
right?
they have to go past it to get to the Guild Federation, which is in the Southern Heights. So it's one of those situations where it's, you're basically, you could lag behind by maybe an hour if you wanted solo time.
Yeah, I know where they're going. I'll take some time myself.
Don't know anything I wouldn't.
Oh, let me put in the 2 sending spells that I did earlier.
All right. Well, if everybody else is going to the Guild Federation, you get there in a number of hours, and find the similar like I've described sort of like a large grand hall that has these statues sort of flanking the sides, and the individual who you spoke to before, I think Siroc Antonius is this Aarakocra person who had previously, you had sort of went into a back room to talk to them. You call, presumably, tell me if I'm doing anything too fast, but you drop the names that you need to drop, and you get another appointment with Siroc, and are brought to sort of the back, like fantasy cubicles of the administrators who run the Ventus Guild Federation. And this Aarakocra, sort of the sort of pigeon-looking guy, sort of like plump, definitely not a fighter of any kind, sort of sits down and says, "Well, the left stars is what you said before, I think. Does that sound right?"
Yep.
Yeah, well, just so happens that this morning we received a certain letter of recommendation from a, and he pulls out this paperwork and says, General Hardak, something about fulfilling the duties of a exemplary group of fighters and such and such and such and such. Basically, we made a decision this morning that any such sort of quest or trial that we would normally undertake for the founding of a guild, that this letter was sufficient to serve those purposes. And so that just really leaves us with a little bit of paperwork to sort out on the what and where.
Perfect.
So what and where? What are you guys thinking? Do you have any questions?
So I think we want to be an adventuring guild. I think we had established that before. Right now, it seems like most of our business is in consonance. So I think if there's anything available here, great. We do have an airship, so not sure what that necessarily implies. Whether
what is the name of the airship?
The Way Home?
He's just sort of writing things down. And says, okay, we will try to get that paperwork from Cloud Top. Make sure that there is a sort of everything is set. Is this guild property or is this private property?
Private?
Yeah, it's yours.
Okay, so we will secure the sort of permits for use, for business use.
Let's ask this thing. Is it beneficial for it to be considered guild property? Like, do we get better funding or taxes or anything?
Tax exemptions.
If it is guild property, then the designated members of the guild will have sort of permanent access to and from the skyport, such as to be able to board and debark the ship in any city in Ventus. If it is private property, then that right would only be registered to the individual whose ship it is, and any people that they designate it to.
That's up to you, Mouse. That's kind of your ship, so. Well, it is your ship, not kind of your ship.
I mean, it's not just my ship, though. But also, it sounds beneficial if it's all of our ship. Does it really matter whose name's on it?
Well, I should say that the nature of being a guild ship would sort of establish a relationship between the cloud top logistics, if that's sort of a connection you want to be making. Also, provides certain access and updates to air traffic and warnings, weather warnings, things of that nature, that are generally reserved only for businesses that have a need to know such things. This person is giving you the legalese of basically telling you that by having a registered guild ship, that it's becomes there's sort of a dotted line where it's like it becomes guild property, so if the guild were to do anything wrong and if anybody had to seize the property of the guild, then that could be a liability. But otherwise, on the flip side, it gives you sort of greater control and access over all things Skyport, right? So, because I'm like the guild Ventus Guild Federation does have sort of like a dotted line to every guild to help sort of manage your paperwork and stuff. And so if there was ever you're basically signing up for a government job, and it's like it would become government property, but that you have the rights to. So
Mouse is gonna turn to Aesop and Flint and be like, guys, I don't have very good experiences with people like this. I'm not really sure I understand what the word property means.
All in all, I think there's a benefit to it being considered the guild's, but maybe there's a little bit more risk and it makes it a little less yours. So
as long as the way home is sort of obeying all Ventisian laws, then there should be no risk at all. I can provide you a book of the sort of airspace laws if that would be helpful.
Please, thank you. I'll take that.
It's not so much a like a leather-bound book, but a sort of like sewn together leaf of papers that you look at it, Aesop, and it's just like it is all in legalese. You would need, if there's a question you would ask from this book, it's going to take some time to decipher it.
I see.
Count to you, Mouse.
I would talk to Fern about it, because if you also see this ship as also Fern's, then switching it over to the guild property, I don't know if they would particularly want to do that. And it seems like you and them are good friends, great friends, and known each other for a while. So I think that might be a good start to figure out what you want to do.
Can we add it as guild property later if this changes?
Sure. That would be. I'm echoing. Okay. He says, yeah, sure, that would be fine. I don't see a Fern on your guild paperwork. Is this a new employee?
Soon likely to be, maybe?
Some logistics needs to be handled. We thought we had everything figured out today, but it seems like we might need to come back with some updates.
Well, the founding of, we're just sort of going through the first steps of the process. Once we have a guild hall located for you, which could take a few weeks, maybe a week. We'll see how it goes. and you guys come here and get the keys and sign some final papers, then that can be, we can make some changes if you need be. So this is just sort of just the setup. We're just going through questions so that I can be as prepared as I can be. But yes, if you have this Fern or any other individuals that you're planning to, it says here in the contract, number of folks being paid for through the. Yes, he's sort of like reading it and noting it. He says, yes, there's a number of employees that you can bring on besides these 5 individuals. I only see 4 of you here. There's, yeah, when we're ready to hand things over, just make sure that all people who you want to be on are present.
Like,
Understandable.
yeah, and we're working on recruiting some support staff, but we haven't nailed them down yet.
Very well. Any requests for things that we should keep an eye out for as we're sort of looking for property?
I mean, if there's any property within the marble walls, I mean, come on. That's preferred, of course, but that might be a little hard to do so. I like jokingly laugh. I'm like, ha ha ha, that'd be so funny, right?
Give me a persuasion check. It is a high DC because this is not something that you will succeed through your silver tongue. It's a high DC because of the just how much paperwork you're asking to sort out. It's not high enough.
I was about to say, was it a 25?
Yeah.
No! Dang it. It's a good roll, though.
Says, I'll see, but maybe after the first year and just the guild has a little bit more notoriety, these things can be arranged. But if there's any features that you're looking for in particular, any location within consonants that sort of you favor.
I think specifically, I'll look at everyone else to make sure that I might be on the right track here. Some bedrooms and or sleeping arrangements within the facility, I think, would be essential.
Of course.
Yeah, I think sleeping arrangements, full kitchen.
Are you just looking for a house, or
I think also like a workshop or like
Okay.
a forge or something be good.
Place for folks to train for combat activities and the like.
indoor
Sure.
or outdoor?
Both?
Yeah, whatever
Either
is
one,
easiest to come
probably.
by.
Okay.
I think we prefer something that's easy to get around the city. Probably prefer something in Factory or Southern Heights. I feel like we spend most of our time there.
Okay.
But unless you guys want something closer to your university and parents and things.
Southern
I
Heights
mean-
will be more expensive, and it seems like you're covered for the first year, but after the first year, just for your awareness.
Then maybe Factory Precinct? I mean, I think that's about as good for us.
We might be able to find a workshop if we're in the precinct, too.
That's fair.
Very well. Well, I will get started on this. Please feel free if you have any other sort of requests, send it direct here. Just send either come by if you have time, or send a missive, and we will keep the tally going.
What about a message in your head from me or Mouse over here? Would that be fine?
Listen, I'm getting a big commission off this, so do whatever you want.
Perfect.
And everything we've talked about here so far is covered under this contract, right? Like we're not
We're not going above and beyond.
As far as I know, I need to spend some time with it. I'll raise any flags for you if I see anything in the fine print that sort of doesn't add up. But do you have a budget in case like I wanted to put some bells and whistles on it that aren't in the contract?
40.
Thanks, Mouse. The answer is we'd be open to.
It's like 40
hearing
platinum. I mean, that's actually pretty.
Don't
Yeah,
investigate
we can do
that.
a lot
Don't
with that.
investigate that any further. Mouse, you're doing great. I would say if any bells and whistles come up, we'd be happy to hear about them, but would prefer to go with what's covered in the contract at the minimum.
All right. Let me get some things sorted. If I see anything, how's this? Okay, give me a week ish. Reach out to me. Maybe I'll be done sooner. And let me present some options to you, and we'll see if some of those options have a few bells and whistles. You tell me what you want to do.
Perfect.
All right. Left Stars, it is a pleasure. Let me know as soon as you have the full team together and any additional support staff ready, even if that's after the fact. Otherwise, I will be in touch, or you'll be in touch, however your magic works, and we'll get this squared away. So you are sort of like proper handshakes with a winged figure who does have hands, but nonetheless it's a gust of air every time there's a shake. And
I'll be like, thank you for so much for looking into the marble wall situation. It's very much appreciated.
Yeah, I'll try. But the Southern Heights is really nice too.
I'll just not.
Out of curiosity, we might need to do some shipping. Do you know, we heard good things about a Master Krex, and I think he's got a shipping guild or something. Do you know what guild that is?
I could check the registers. I don't my portfolio is pretty limited. So I could look into it for you if you want to. Well, I mean, once you join the Federation, those records will be a little bit more free for you to peruse. It's not really up to me to just sort of share that. But, once all this paperwork's sorted out, if you want to, make some connections within the guilds, I'm sure we could make that happen.
I mean, we're already joining the Federation. We just want a little tidbit of information.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. I'll see you next week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
Or whenever you're ready.
Did the name, was there any facial reaction to the name Master Krex?
Roll an insight check.
Oh, I'm a halfling!
Halfling.
Yeah!
24. You think that, with the 24, recognition, but not strong recognition. Oh, maybe that name is familiar, maybe, in a book, maybe I saw it somewhere. But there wasn't oh, Master Krex, oh yeah, nothing like that.
Once we leave, I'll share that with everybody.
And you do leave. You're sort of guided out with a date on the books for later. And let's go ahead and take a break because it's been an hour, 2 hours. So Woo! 5 minutes. So, you, team Guildhall, you have really just enough time after your meeting with Sirach to maybe grab a quick bite somewhere close, or sit out in the park and catch up for like 10 minutes on what the plan is for tonight before you're about to get into sunset territory. Before we get to Clax, is there anything, like, as you guys are leaving the Ventus Federation, anything that sort of you would talk about in these final moments as you were like outside of the company of Clax and before rendezvousing at the Burning Needle?
So nobody caught me up on what happened with y'all today, and based on Clax's reaction, slamming his axe into the makeshift dummy we have out in our backyard, I'm assuming it didn't go well, but just wanted to see from what your guys' perspective was how it all went.
I mean, honestly, went a lot better than I thought it would. Was there a single moment of it in which anyone was pleasant? No.
Oh.
But ultimately, did Pott's Marigold, whatever her name is, did she admit and give some context as to why she is greatly in debt and does not seem averse to trying to find a solution to move forward in a way that works for everyone? No, she seemed not heinously mad at everything, just mostly mad at Clax.
Yeah.
I think they really like each other. It's just that they express their liking each other with a lot of shouting.
Why can I see that? I can see that. Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. That, and we also learned that we met I guess the rest of the people that like Clax would have served with in the watch, and it sounds. I mean, it's his story to tell, but it sounds like they didn't leave on the best. Clax didn't leave maybe on the best of terms.
I think from what we know already, that was probably the case. Yeah.
It seemed to me like maybe not everyone is aware that he was forced out, and his departure didn't leave their squad in the best of shape, maybe. So he might feel a little responsible or something for this, because she got the money to try to help the squad get back, into shape and things. So
I was about to say, what I'm assuming she was not very happy then on her end.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure we did a good job of clarifying that with her. That Clax didn't abandon them or something.
Do you think Clax would want to have that conversation with her? I feel like if he wanted to, it would have happened then.
I think in the moment they were more worried about having their feelings heard louder than the other person's feelings, and less on context.
I see.
Also,
so it's shouting match.
Yeah, and given the tone of said shouting match, like, I don't know, in a public conversation where, like, even if you were like, oh yeah, here's the truth, here's what happened, this shit happened to me, like, I don't know if she would have believed him right then and there. It might take some time.
I see.
Yeah, all in all, there's a lot of yelling, clearly some history. Not everything was clarified, but I think they're on board for us to help out with this debt or try to negotiate on their behalf or something.
So we don't have a total solution, but it sounds like we're going to try to get one right now.
I mean, I was going to say we should walk in with options, I think, and see what they're receptive to. Yeah, it sounds like a financial payment plan did not seem like something they were down for. But a blood payment plan, I don't see any reason they would not be game for that. I also like, unless they're just so principled that the debt is the person's debt, like needs to be collected one go sure. But I'm also fine with proposing, we all pitch in. But I also want to make sure that people are okay with that, and I'm not gonna put that on.
Have we confirmed that animal blood just isn't sufficient?
Pretty sure it's not sufficient.
It's worth asking. I can become a bear twice a day.
That's fair. If you bleed as a bear, is that animal blood or?
Yeah, because also as a bear, you just have so much more blood, one would think. So, is that still person blood? It's just a lot of it.
I have a vague memory of this sort of story about I think of wild shaping and then into a bear and then cutting off a flank in order to get rations for the day. It's like, no, you can't do that. Listen, you're the bear, all right? If you yes, I think the damage sustained would act as normal health bars, but I think that the act of being bitten, it wouldn't be hard to guess that it is a little bit more than that. You don't know how much they're taking. You don't know if it's measured in volume, and I think the two short characters would probably would probably consider that as how much is Flint's blood worth versus Clax's blood. You don't know. A bear could be a source. You don't know if that's sort of compatible, but you know that being bitten as a bear would not be fun, and it would still probably impose some side effects to the human form or the humanoid form. If you get blinded as a bear and then you wild shape out of bear form, you're still going to be blinded. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
Someone should really work out a way to just create blood with magic. You can create food and water. Why can't you create blood? I should work on this. It'd be really profitable.
You're muted, Jacob.
If blood is food for this group of people, could you use the spell to make it?
No.
Okay.
DM ruling no.
That would make
Lest
life
we
too
begin to test
easy.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if somebody who's working on blood magic might have been looking into such a thing, but but such things would fall under the boundaries of typical arcane magic.
I was about to say, maybe it was in that book that we totally forgot about and never went back for. Crazy.
Someday we'll get it.
It's definitely not been almost a year to the day since we did that or anything.
Not in world.
Not in world. Out of world, yes. All right. You are all returning to the Burning Needle, or are you going together? I know some of you haven't even been there, or at least beyond.
Yeah, just
sitting outside.
people.
I guess for now we'll just say you're all at least walking in the same direction, because some of you might go somewhere else, I expect.
Does the horns is the horns before or after the
Before.
Burning Needle?
Yeah.
Should we stop in there and just see if we got a writ to go into the marble walls from the rich guy?
Oh yeah, because that was we said that we should send that missive to there, right?
Yeah, because I didn't want to give your parents' home address.
Very fair. Appreciated.
You want to stop by the horns on the way?
And just stop and see if there's a letter waiting for us.
Yeah. There is.
Woo!
It is a very small note that says, "The gentleman Magnus Goldenshire requests an audience with one forest gnome by the name of Flint."
Oh man, I have to go on my own.
We can find a way to sneak someone with you. Jump in the bag.
I mean, to select the token.
All right. To the burning needle.
All right, Clax, you know that if you were like just sort of timing things out, you've patrolled these streets enough. If you wanted to meet up exactly around when you'd expect the party to show up, that you probably had a couple hours to burn. But is there anything you would do, knowing that you had a little bit of downtime?
No, like I am trying to destroy the training dummy at this point. It is just
You have a magical axe. I think like if you wanted to timber this dummy, like treat it like a little tree, it would have fallen by now. I
once
will
it's fallen,
say,
I'm standing there screaming at it.
yeah, give me
Now I'm mad at it fell over.
Give me a Constitution saving throw. As you go a little overkill on this thing.
Yeah, not great.
I'm going to say that you suffer a point of exhaustion, which is really just ability checks, which you will recover at the end of the night. But I think as Clax wears himself out, you realize that you do have tasks left tonight, and that's probably the point where you stop, knowing that you can't risk not being at your strongest for whatever comes tonight.
On my way out, I go in the house. Take 5 gold, put it on the counter, knowing that something's going to have to be replaced out back there. And I don't know what that costs, but if there's paper and pen, I'll write a note.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that Ace of parents aren't back yet.
No, not by the time you would leave.
And then I will head on down. Let me take out my 5 gold.
All right. Do you have any intent to show up before people get there? Knowing that you have the most time to kill, is there any what do you intend? How do you intend your approach to the building?
Clax being one for subtlety, and after the day he's had and the emotions he's had, he probably makes a beeline right for there.
Okay.
And as for the plan,
Not sure.
there is no plan.
Yeah. Well, I will say, as you sort of, I don't necessarily want to say cool your jets. I don't want to tell you how Clax feels, but as you're sort of walking through the city and you see the burning needle on the horizon, you see on a corner across from the establishment, you see Marigold sitting there waiting for you. And she's there early as well. At this point, the rest of the party has not arrived.
I'll walk on over.
Giving her a quick look, she's sort of in off duty, which is sort of like she has a hand axe, but she doesn't have her. She has her armor, but not her shield, and just a hand axe instead of her battle axe. And she's sort of discarded anything with like sigildry, and yeah, not necessarily like hostile, but it's just sort of like dressed down.
I'll approach and give a nod as I get close.
Well, not very well gonna let you fight my battles for me by yourself. But I don't know what the fuck you're trying to do here.
Honestly, that makes 2 of us. And we have more to discuss, by the way. But that can wait till later. So, since you're a lieutenant now, do you have a plan?
Well, I thought you were negotiating. I figured I'd let you take the lead.
That
What
sounds
I'm
like
more
a plan.
used to anyway.
Well, Do you want to wait for my friends, or should we go have a conversation?
Let me be clear. I do want to be honorable about this. I fucked up. I have a price to pay. Like, I just need it to be done in a way that is amenable to my situation. I'm not trying to get out of this, and I'm not trying to have you and your friends sacrifice on my behalf. But a little backup doesn't hurt.
All right.
Not really in a position to negotiate my way.
Then we'll wait. But if we're going to wait, what the hell happened to the group?
I mean, we lost 2.
Yeah, on my way out the door, I heard about Naren Ellison and Battlegut. But I never heard what was going on.
The short version is that the magistrate wanted to reorganize a bit. There wasn't a lot of trust in the way that we had been trained. There was a fear that we would sort of pick up where you left off, loyalty and all that. That we would chase after this person that you seem to care so much about. But, there was just some tight leash. Uben always looking over our shoulder, looking over my shoulder, because being your right hand, I was promoted to lieutenant. There's nobody else to take over that spot. And he's just, every morning I report to him. It's another reason why this blood nonsense, she's sort of like hushing at this street corner. This blood nonsense, I can't, what is he going to think if he sees this? She's pointing to her neck. And there's nothing on there right now, but you get the hint. Like, you think he's going to give that one look and just sort of, like, they got like disguise kits, but I can't afford one of those either. So, what, like, it's just a shit situation to be in. All right, I have to report every little thing from this fucking Mirren bullshit to what our routes are every day. We're being micromanaged, and I don't have the time or the energy to do that. And worse off, we're getting these easy nothing assignments. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's nice to relax now and then, but he takes away a lot of our a lot of the tools of the trade, so to speak. And we get these loners. She sort of shows you the one axe that she brought, and it's dinged up to shit. Functions still as an axe, but it's sort of like, you look at it and it's clearly, there's a form of like secondhand punishment going on, that like, this is a semi-disgraced team that is getting the short end of the stick with regards to equipment and repair and things like that. Like, your shield's been battered, but like, you can just ask Flint to mend that away and it's fine. But like, they don't have that luxury here, and things are falling apart. It's low budget police force. And she just says, I would, I don't know what to tell you. It's a shit situation.
You've already told me enough.
And I don't want you to make it worse. And I say that with respect to what we're about to do, but don't fucking talk to Uben or any of the other lieutenants Because this is my mess to dig myself out of. I don't need our reputation to be like Caden and his folks, that they just sort of get money from an outside source and then they're fine and they've got all the luxury in the world. I don't know what you're up to these days, but I don't want your money, and I just need some help with my situation.
Understood. You give me a lot to think on. A lot. And this all happened about the time I was suspended, correct? Even when you were in an interim role, because when I left, you were still in the interim role. You hadn't been promoted.
She sort of looks at you and says, I heard you left. I didn't hear you were suspended.
I did leave after I was suspended. I was stripped of all duties, quarantined the barracks, essentially doing messenger work and hanging out down there.
You were still a lieutenant, though. You would have gotten off the hook eventually.
Eventually. But I think I realized there were... And you have all but confirmed my suspicion that there are other more deep-rooted problems going on. Again, you know me, I'm not one for deep thinking or anything along those lines, but it's become apparent to me that there's some other issues that need to be addressed as well.
I mean, as ominous as that sounds, you really better stay out of it. I mean, I gotta be honest with you. Whatever happens today, this team is now mine to take care of, and if we or anybody else sees you doing something you're not supposed to be doing, I've got a job to do. So
I wouldn't ask you to jeopardize that. I will say, though, if I do need a favor that doesn't consider you or doesn't need you to break the law, you know, I might call in a favor in the days in the future. Just, if you don't mind, give her kind of a pat on the back.
She doesn't seem to receive that in a bad way, but not in a like joyful way either. She's calmed down, but it's not like buddy. She's you kind of look at her, she's kind of grown up a little bit. Like, this situation has shaken her and sort of told her that she needs to be something that she wasn't before, whatever that was. So she says, I'm on the clock a lot. I don't have very many days off. Listen, if you want to stay in touch after all this, and I've got free time, sure, let's get a beer, let's talk about it. But I'm just telling you, this business points towards the burning needle. Whatever you're getting yourself into today, I don't know anything about it. Tomorrow, if I hear about it, well, we'll see what happens. I don't have the precinct shift right now, but I can't help you with this one, and I wouldn't.
Oh, I'm not asking you to. The only piece of advice I can give you at this point and everything I've learned, when you're put in that situation that you need to make a decision that's right or wrong based on your moral compass, that's more important than any law or rule. But I think I see my friends coming down the alleyway.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I think you all notice as well that Pott is Marigold, Lieutenant Pott, whatever you know her by, is present as well.
I'll look at Drana. Is that her?
Yeah, that's her.
They're sitting a little close, don't you think?
I know. See, the vibes were really off earlier, but like, I can't tell if it's like a mentor-mentee thing or like if there's some. I don't think there's something more, but like you know.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about now. Okay, more to come.
On the flip side of the conversation, she's like, "Who's that?" points towards Aesop.
Oh, she's looking
one
at
of
me.
yours.
Shit.
Probably.
Face
I
offense.
don't. She's not saying nice things, but don't take it personally. It's fine.
Yeah, Aesop's part of the group. He had other things to attend to earlier, so he wasn't around. And again, I just wanted to talk earlier. It did not mean for things to go down that way. But anyways, let's go meet up with him.
You all meet across the street from the Burning Needle, and Marigold sort of looks at all of you and says, "So, hear that we're gonna have a little talk. Y'all don't owe me anything. I was an asshole earlier, still an asshole. And if you fuck this up, I'm gonna continue to be an asshole, but well, I appreciate you showing up anyway."
But what she's trying to say is thank you very much for all your support. With that being said, she has kindly asked that we do actually really negotiate.
Yeah, that's the intention.
Were you not planning on negotiating?
John
No,
wants
let's
to make
go.
a good impression with this
No,
group.
not yet. No, not yet. One before heading in. Heads up for those who have yet to be here. If you go inside, they will take your weapons away. Prada is looking at Clax as he's saying this. It's like heads up, that will happen if you choose to go in. But yeah, I can think of several different possibilities as to how we can solve this and everyone leaves not unhappy. A blood payment plan of some sort. I think I might know of a way that can make the taking of blood less painful and bad. So I can talk to some of the folks in there and see if that's a possibility. Or or whoever is willing pitches in or some combination. Is you folks have other ideas and who's also going in.
Fox just, if he had eyebrows, would raise an eyebrow.
There's like eyebrow muscles that just sort of.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I'm going in.
I'm going in this time.
I mean, will it be fine? I haven't been in before. Is that going to be weird, Drata, or should I just
You
sit
know,
out
we're
here?
not gambling and we're going into a gambling hall. It's gonna be weird.
Okay.
Well, if
I should have
we're
run a better
part of
outfit.
the offer, we should probably all go, right?
Yeah, I guess. Drata's cloak turns into a formal long coat very quickly, just to be like, well, I guess it's time to look sort of presentable.
Flint, roll me an intelligence check. Just sort of.
Uh-oh.
It's not bad. It's information or no information. Okay. Just one thing that you notice. The previous night when you did come to gamble, there had been a sort of like mix of investigation / general intelligence. Previous night when you came to gamble, there was sort of like all lights on the second floor and things of that nature. And there was sort of like a greeter on the outside. You don't see any of that tonight, which just sort of tells you that like one that one piece of was going to be more intelligence 20. What I will say is that you probably would gauge that there's not necessarily a game tonight, at least based on this sort of like activity of the space. There are lights on, but it's not the same like ambiance as before, and so there's definitely people here.
I think it might be a quieter night here tonight.
Good.
I don't know. Clax, you'd have loved this Magnus guy we talked to last time.
Why?
You would have hated him. It's
All
You would
right.
have loved to hate. You would have loved to hate him though.
Now, see, that sounds like fun.
Why?
Sometimes
you
you
wouldn't
just
have
need a punching bag. Sorry,
Yeah.
Drada.
No, Mouse, you wouldn't have understood him just because he made his entire personality based on money, which, as you know, is a thing you're not super interested in exploring, which is so fair. That was kind of his whole deal. And that's all he talked about.
I mean, I guess at least he knows who he is.
It's true.
And with that, I think looking around, Drada's like, okay, without any further objections, and goes to
All right,
knock on
Drada.
the
I'm gonna
Goes to
follow your
knock on the
lead.
door.
You seem to have.
Don't kill anyone. Don't hurt anyone. This
Oh,
could,
wait.
this could be so simple and so
I-
okay.
I have been asked by Pott to be good.
Hold on, before we go inside, I'm gonna enhance some abilities.
I love that for us.
What is she talking about?
We're
Magic
gonna
stuff.
feel really good.
All right.
Trust her, Pott.
Okay, so each spell level above second. So if I do it at fourth, I can get 3 people.
Can you choose different ability? I don't know the answer to this. Can you choose different abilities for different people? I'm not saying that you have to. I'm curious.
I don't know. It just says at higher levels, when you cast the spell using a slot of third or higher, you can target 1 additional creature for each slot above second. So I'm guessing it all has to be the same. I was going to give charisma because we're, in my head, negotiating is persuading. That's what Mouse thinks is about to go down. But I'll upcast it and give Eagle Splendor to Drada, Potts, and Clax.
Okay. That's
Maybe I'll just do third level and do Drada and Potts. That seems the most likely here.
Okay. Eagle Splendor is which one? Charisma?
Correct.
Charisma.
Okay, got it. Remind me if I forget, because I might forget. Okay. You all go towards the door and reach for the handle and notice that it's locked. Potts just sort of like, all right, whatever, and just starts knocking on the door.
No. Drada would go up and would kind of call through the door, just like, Drada, the one who was bad at gambling several nights ago.
Last night.
Last night, time's weird. I have a certain Lieutenant Potts here. I'd like to talk and work things out.
You stand back from the doorway and hear different knobs being shifted and lifted. Not too many. It's not like a fortified door, but just sort of.
Before they're opened, I also have some friends of mine here as well who have been helpful in stirring pots and helping me in my time here. Just full transparency before the door opens. Great.
The door opens, inevitably, and you see it's sort of like cocked open, such enough to reveal the full figure of the man who you know to be Spike, who you gambled with before, and said, sort of looks at everybody and says, "You know, I didn't really. It's rare when you work with somebody who's so fast and effective. I think that's quite admirable."
You know, sometimes you have friends, and those friends are willing to yell at their friends in the middle of a street until they're game to.
Marigold just like puts her hand over your mouth and says, "Listen, we're here to talk. Can we just get this over with?"
We're here to talk, and I have some ideas of how to get this over with quickly and efficiently.
Put a hand
And
on
in
her
a way that is okay
Thank
for
you.
everyone.
Pot sort of sighs and has no idea what you're talking about, but Spike just says, "Yes, I'm sure. If you could just give me a moment, stay out here if you wouldn't mind." And he'll sort of shut the door. You hear just like one of the latches go on, and the sort of footsteps of somebody going upstairs.
You guys want me to pick the lock?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
There's a lot of tension here, guys. We are going to negotiate. We need to at least be friendly with each other. I just met you. Don't put your hand on my friend's mouth. That is super appreciated. We're trying to get inside the building, and they're trying to do that for you. So don't do that fucking shit. Thank you.
Your friend talks a lot.
I
It's
just
kind of a
I
job.
Yeah.
look over at Aesop and look back. He's right. Especially how you acted. Like, he's right. Like, I gotta defend him.
Whatever. All right, if you're gonna do the talking, I'll keep my mouth shut. Just don't sign me up for anything unreasonable. All right.
Aesop, correct me
Will
if I'm wrong.
do my best.
We're here to negotiate in sound manner to get you the best deal we can and make sure nothing untowards happens to you.
We gotta be friendly.
You hear the
We're all
sound
in
of footsteps
this
going down the
together.
wooden stairs. And the latch sort of opens, and the door fully swings open as you all are sort of in this tight entryway, and says, Hardhold will see you upstairs in the sitting room. Sort of is eyeing you all and your current gear situation and says, "What's this? I mean, do I need to take this from you or not?"
No.
You're welcome to if it makes you feel better. There is no intention of using it. We just registered. It was a very big day. It's been a long day.
Group persuasion check. Everybody roll for me, if you don't mind.
Strata, you have advantage, as does Potts.
Potts didn't say anything, so she's not actually rolling on this one.
She can smile supportively.
Okay. He looks particularly down at Flint and says, "I don't know what's in that bag, but don't open it."
It's mostly just popcorn. Sorry.
I don't know what to say, but just don't open it, and I won't ask you what's inside.
Okay.
And he sort of waves you on upstairs. You enter this sitting room that you've been in before. Seems to be a pretty dark night. A pretty empty night is what I sort of meant to say. There's not a lot of people up here. You see just sort of like a few people at the bar talking to this like half orc who's serving drinks from before. You know what to look for, but nobody's really ordering any red liquid of any kind. It's sort of, there's just, this is almost like dive bar atmosphere of like just sort of people who you don't know if they like work here. They're definitely not like the nobles and merchants of sorts, but there's just sort of like people here, and maybe like 3 or 4. And you see at the far end occupying the sort of like position, the chair of position that Spike had been sitting in when you first came up into the sitting room. You see Hardhold sort of sitting down and smoking a big cigar and just sort of like relaxing. And he sort of calls you all over and says, "Come, sit. Sit. I wasn't expecting such a quick turn of events. It's, these things tend to take time for people to be encouraged to come here after dodging us for some time." Sort of staring polite daggers towards Marigold as he says this, but like he seems pleased.
Sometimes it just takes running into someone on the street and having a really nice, calm, careful, considered chat, as Drada stares daggers into Klax's eyes. But then turns to look back at Owen and just says, it's good to see, like, genuine, like, it says this genuinely, like, removed of the usual layers of sarcasm, like, it's good to see you again. I want to figure out how the best way to do this for everyone is.
Well,
This
that is
person-
indeed the question, Miss Pott. I understand that you are... I understand that you have a duty, as you told us before. And she just sort of says, I said I'm letting them do the talking because I'm pissed off.
She's had a day, and I say that not to, it's been a lot.
Yeah.
I'm extending grace to that side of the table.
Spike sort of interrupts and says, one moment, and you see he starts to trace the arcane sigils in the air that he did before as a sort of detect magic goes off. You see that he's sort of inspecting Pott, and he sort of looks to Hardhold and says, as best as I can tell, she wants to be here, or at least she wasn't forced to be. So. And Hardhold's like, all right, well, guess you have some persuasive friends.
That we do. My concern is 500 to be repaid in one go. Lieutenant here would probably be out of commission for quite some time, in a way that looks very visible, both literally visible and also, given her status, would take her out of the job for a bit. So I would like to explore some ways of making sure this debt is fully paid and you get what you are deserved, without drawing undue attention to yourself, and also making sure she can pay it without, sorry, I shouldn't have. I'm sorry.
She looks over at you and says, gee, thanks. I really didn't want to...
So I'm trying. Anyways. Okay, a couple thoughts that came to mind. How do you normally take the blood?
Well,
Like,
if we have if we have somebody in need, who's present, I mean, sometimes our customers or people who we take care of, they stop by, but that sort of is it's the preferred method. I mean, I don't know. He sort of looks at you and says, like, I don't know what you know as a person of such esteem, but the fresher the better.
I know. That's fair. All of that is to say, I think I would say this in Undercommon. I'm not sure if he would know it, but just going for it. I know of a way for things to be quick and for it to hurt less for her. Something my parents taught me.
Does anybody else speak Undercommon? I assume not, because I think I made a decision on what Undercommon is.
But Klax is already giving a hard sidelong glance at Drada. just because I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, Drada starts sort of speaking in this, like, I'd say it's sort of like a Undercommon has a sort of like, it's like trying to understand somebody with a very, very thick accent that is common, but it's so indecipherable that there's no way to pick anything out of it. And it has sort of like something else going on with it that you're not quite sure. But
You're in rural Ireland.
not
Drada's been Irish the whole time. Yes.
I did not say an Irish accent, but it could be whatever accent you want it to be. But you all don't really have like sort of a deciphering over this, and it's the first time you've heard Drada say anything with this language. And Hardhold sort of strokes his beard with like a recognition and responds in Undercommon and says, "Well, all's the better, because I don't know how much she's willing to give tonight, but we don't have many people to feed here, so we will have to collect via storage unless she wants to set up an appointment with somebody."
I'm still speaking in Undercommon, just saying, if it's helpful for her, if we can't collect everything tonight, I'm more than happy to make a return trip with her and continue this means of collection. Other options we floated, like something like some return visits and a payment plan of sorts and that. This fully goes back into common. Something like a repayment system with multiple visits, just so she is able to continue doing her job to the best of her ability, or depending on how my friends here are feeling tonight, if you are looking for a variety of vintages, then we could try to help supplement her load. But yeah.
He sort of looks towards everybody to get a gauge over what their reactions are to that proposal. Just
I
sort of
probably
like the looks on their
shudder a little
faces.
bit. Like, the idea of things going inside my body is just not a sensation that I ever thought that would happen to me. So Asa probably is just like,
Yeah, he actually moves
staring
on.
at just-
He moves on from you. He moves past Aesop as if you're a no.
Oh.
Looks towards Clax.
Clax is somebody who is doing all he can to be quiet at the moment.
Around here, he's sort of looking at, he moved on from Aesop, and you'll know why in a second, but he sort of looks at Clax, squinting at you and says, "Round here, we don't take from the unwilling, so I need a yes or a no."
I need to know the terms.
If we came back another night, perhaps.
All right,
There's a
here's the
way
deal.
I could help make it much less of a process for us as well.
Here's the deal. All right. We've got a reputation to uphold. And I'm sorry, Miss Pott, but your friends can't pay everything for you. This is not something that we can allow, because you can imagine then every person is going to potentially start doing the same thing, and some people might end up bribing their friends to give what they aren't meant to give, and then
But we haven't been bribed.
I'm understood. I'm talking about standards, right? We have standards on how this works because it keeps everybody safe. The people who find themselves in a situation and are willing to pay the price, and people who find themselves in a situation and are not willing to pay the price. We want to make sure that nobody is taken advantage of, and we can't have rumors flying around that you can just hire some people to pay the price for you, or or blackmail them, God forbid.
Confirm that's not happening. But the
Understood.
point is taken. The point is taken. The point.
So, listen, I'm willing to listen. I got people to feed, all right? And on account of your position in the guard, I'm willing to consider this situation, but I need to know what people are willing to offer. Because when I say I got people to feed, I mean I got people to feed now, and I got people to feed later. So I'm trying
But
to
let's
work
be
out those
honest,
details.
you're working under an extortion ring. No matter how you say it, it's an extortion ring. Because you say you got people to feed, that's all you care about is feeding. But you're willing to give people money, knowing that they're going to lose their money because it's a gambling house and the house always wins, with very few exceptions, and you don't collect in the same currency that they trade in.
He puts on the face of like a little bit of a smarmy face and says, "We are very upfront with our terms. Whether or not they read the terms," he looks at Pott, and she has a look of shame on her face that you can kind of tell she signed very hastily. Whether or not they agree to the terms or read them, sorry, DM flub. Whether or not they read the terms is up to them. We're very upfront with who we are, what we are.
So caveat emptor.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Caveat emptor. Buyer beware.
Oh yeah.
Strada is now staring daggers more than before into Glass's eye.
I'm willing to do whatever.
I'm willing.
You only have so much blood, so don't be too eager.
I mean, sure, don't kill me or nothing, but
Well, who else?
I'm willing to
is
make
willing?
this as painless as possible for whoever we want it to be as painless as possible.
I'm here to help.
Let's make this simple. Raise your hand if you're willing to contribute.
Lax looks over at Pott.
Well, she
she's
knows
in.
that she's in already. She doesn't raise her hand, but she looks at you and sort of. So give me an insight check if you'd like, with
I think-
disadvantage because you're exhausted.
I think Aesop would just try to deceptively keep along and try to make it seem like he's in it, available, ready to give blood. Just trying to stick with the team right now. If I need a roll deception check, I will.
Go ahead. You obviously have advantage because of things. People can change their minds.
Is it control?
With an insight 3, you can't get a read on her.
I did disadvantage, but 19.
Okay. Just clarifying as a DM, who's raising their hands? Like everybody except for Clax at the moment? Or Drada's offering to facilitate.
one's raising
Black-
his hand.
Turn back to Hardhold. Can we not work out a monetary compensation that would be adequate enough to move beyond this?
If you have a solution where I can turn money into food, I'm all ears. I have money. House always wins, like you say. It's
God,
not
like
what
you
I
less
need.
and less.
Well, you don't have to like me. I have business to run. I run it honestly, whether you like it or not. Are you in or
It's
not?
a him problem.
I'm in. But I'll tell you what, if I feel it's too much, I'm going to kill one of you.
Fox.
You see he sort of like gives a slight laugh, and Spike, who's standing next to him, has a tight grip on the stake strapped to his belt.
I'll look over at Class. I'll be like, I appreciate the tenacity and the emotion that you're giving off right now. We love it. We're surrounded. Just keep that in mind.
Clash
Okay.
just smiles. Just
It'll-
smiles at that.
And to be quite honest, and I'll try to whisper this, they might have information for you, so if you don't shut the fuck up and let this transaction go, we might get the information you need. So let's just try to keep that in mind.
Clack stops smiling.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're
Group-
doing this for you.
Group
Yeah.
persuasion check once again. DC is 15. I need 3 out of 5 successes.
Oy.
Well, you can just auto pass with your silver tongue, so let's be clear.
It's true. Oh no.
Hold on, who got the advantage
Uh,
with the enhanced ability?
I just gave it to
Uh,
Pott.
I'll say Pott helps Flint because Clax already had disadvantage.
Oh
Pot-
yeah,
yeah. The Pot look on Pott's face is that of being agreeable to this.
I'll go ahead and add my +5 to that. Flash of
And
genius.
I have to wheel before the roll. Never mind.
Well, I think with the Flash of Genius, we do have 3 out of 5, assuming that Aesop uses Silver Tongue, which is a
Yes.
I'll just say, like, you guys, I don't want to make you invent something every time, but you guys put on the puppy dog eyes or something, I don't know. And he sort of says, all right. I don't know what Drada here is going to show us, but 2 nights. 1 today, 1 sometime in the next few weeks. All right, 5 of you for 2 nights. Just enough to feed somebody, not enough that you can't sleep it off.
Clarification. I need dates. Because we have other obligations to attend to.
You want to give me a date that you can keep? Then I'm for it.
What's the minimum time between them? Like, we come back, tomorrow. Is it?
If you want.
I mean, you've done this more than we have. Is it going to be a problem for us?
No. I mean, might not heal as well as insofar as the scar is concerned, but you can sleep it off tonight, you can sleep it off tomorrow, or you can sleep it off tonight and you can sleep it off 3 weeks from now, but I need a commitment.
Tonight and tomorrow works fine for me. I'll say that personally.
Fine.
Actually, we can't even see scars on you. What?
And the birthmark proves otherwise. There's certainly...
Sure. Today and tomorrow. Can you handle that, Potts?
Sure.
All in.
All right, Drada, show us what you got. Otherwise, we're going to have to pull out the utensils.
Okay. Who wants first?
At the word of utensils, Clack's hand is absolutely on the haft of his axe at that.
He says it's a device, right? It's no different than a pair of syringes.
Okay, hey friends, so do you want to see this? Do you not want to see this? Okay, good. I'd rather you not, but I'm also not going to tell you no. It
Pot.
will open up a lot of questions, more than that have already been opened. But,
Pot says, you said something about no scars. That's what I need. Don't care. just do it.
I was talking more to the people I've spent several months with, but sure.
Let me see what I'm getting into.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. This was gonna happen soon enough. And Stratus Pott seems the most anxious. I wants to go first.
I kind of look at Potts. Kind of fair for you to go first, don't you think?
I step in front of her.
Is that a yes?
Let's get this over with.
I have your arm, please. Thank you. And you see Drada puts his hand on your forearm, kind of feeling your musculature around for a bit. Almost like massaging a little bit into your forearm. For kind of sharply and then abruptly, in a way that hurts, but hopefully a lot less than you think it would. Like pulls his hand back and it like contorts into a couple weird angles. As that happens, a couple pinpricks, a couple points that widen into not rivers that would be so gross as for you to like pass out. But blood does start to emerge from your forearm. As Drada casts a spell he's yet to cast in this entire campaign. And casts Exsanguinate.
I think that like one way to describe it is sort of like if you've watched Avatar, it's sort of like blood bending. It's like pulling blood out of you without creating any kind of incision or anything of that
like
nature.
It's like if bloody rain was slowly coming out of your forearm upside down. Constitution save.
So Klax, as you feel your blood being drawn, sort of like floating between your arm and Drada's arm, Drada, you probably would have set aside a vial of some kind.
Yeah.
So that you
like
could
you have a
sort of move
bowl,
over.
like a clean vessel, anything, please.
Yeah.
A decanter.
And you are able to sort of like move the blood into what would be a sort of single serving, so to speak. And as the sort of spell ends, and this is sort of pulled from Klax, I assume you're letting go because you could hold on to this and draw more, but it sounds like you're trying to limit it.
Yes.
As you sort of let go of the spell, Spike will sort of like cork this bottle and says, "One down." Should be clear, you arcane casters out there, let alone the non-arcane casters, never seen a spell like this in your life. This is not in the school of Arcana that you're sort of like familiar with or heard about. Pott steps up and just sort of says, sort of looking at Klax's arm to notice that there's no visible scar, and sort of volunteers her arm as well.
Drada casts it again. I guess probably at a second level, just given his spell slots left, and also for any of the people he would cast this at a second.
Yeah.
Sure. And I don't know if that takes more blood or not.
I don't. It says that the initial damage is increased, but I don't know that. Like, blood is sort of measured in exhaustion, not damage. So I don't think it would. For the sake of brevity, and it also occurred to me that not everybody's fond of blood and needles and stuff like that. Is everybody who volunteered sort of goes through with it? as Drada is just sort of pulling it from you mystically.
How many spell slots you have?
So there's the fun thing. I have 4. There's 5 of us.
You know, guys, maybe I should do it the second night if there's not enough spell slots.
We said 5 tonight and 5 tomorrow. That's the deal.
I'm happy to do 4 tonight and 6 tomorrow. That's very doable. Are you okay with that?
So we're just changing deals now.
No, I'm looking at you. I'm noticing I'm feeling tired. And if you're cool with that, cool. If not, we can look into alternatives.
Fine. 6 tomorrow. That's final.
Tomorrow.
So who else then? I think Mouse, Flint, and that's it.
I think it's everyone but Aesop.
Yeah.
Was getting a double dose tomorrow.
Someone's getting a double dose tomorrow.
Do you want me to cast just to get hit
Just-
points, or we're
just
gonna
take your
rest
just take your spell slot. Well, yeah. I mean, if you're donating, take 6 damage. We'll say. I don't know. Go ahead and roll it. I guess the first one is for Clax. The second one's for Pott. And then third is for Mouse, and fourth is for Flint.
Fox already had his.
But as this is sort of wrapping up,
There's Pots, and then there's
yeah, as this is wrapping up, Hardhold's like, well, this is acceptable to me. New, I admit. Oh, wish we had somebody on hand that could do this ourselves. But
you're more than welcome to offer me next whenever I'm in town.
Well, maybe I'll take you up on that. But Marigold is just like, well, that was not unpleasant, but I've got a shift in the morning, so see you guys here tomorrow night. Is that the plan?
Ax just nods.
All right. She kind of like nods to everybody with like a sort of like shy appreciation. It's like not easy for people to provide a service like this on your behalf. But she sort of like clacks on the back and then leaves.
Out of character for a second. Can someone remind me, did we ask about Master Krex already to Spike?
No.
We've not brought it. Okay.
Hardhold, after she leaves, says, well, see you tomorrow, unless you have anything more to discuss tonight.
No, my friends have, questions that I think you might be uniquely situated to hear, but if you'd rather we ask until the deal is done, I'm more than happy to wait.
Sure. Things went over smoothly. I expect you'll be here tomorrow regardless to what I say, so he sort of like rounds up Spike and says, let's get everybody out of here. Let's clear the room. Spike goes around and sort of says like, bar's closed, and people start, the few people who are here, who were sort of passive observers to this, but you don't get the impression that any of them cared or that anybody was really paying attention. The room starts being cleared, and Hardhold sort of looks down to the group of you and says, well, I'm only meeting some of you for the first time, but it's my understanding that you are friends of Drada Nelik here. I don't know how far that extension goes, but do you... Sounds like you all have questions for me, not just you, Drada.
Look over to Clax and goes, him primarily. I mean, I guess you could ask. I mean, any of us could ask it, but it's his business.
I'll look at Clax. I'm like, if you don't mind, we are looking for a particular individual, just a connection to something that we're working with, / working on, and not to be prejudiced or anything, but
we get it all. It's fine.
Well,
I have
we're
thick skin.
as they are a vampire as well, so we were curious enough to see if you also knew about them or know of them within the city, because they do reside here. So we were thinking you might be a good source of information for this individual, and I will cast Major Image, as I do know what this guy looks like. So I will cast and make a pretty good detailed image. Oh, I guess I'm putting down a template.
No, it's fine.
I'll just, yeah, there you go.
Um,
And I'll like pull out my book and like wisp of like black ink energy like spill out from it as it like slowly forms into like a young humanoid male in dark clothing with a hood on, but you could still see the face. I'm pretty sure they had the hood on during the meeting as well, so you don't actually know what the
they had been
rest of the
given
head
a
looks like.
cloak during the meeting, so they actually, I don't think they had a hood on the whole time.
I see. So
Necessarily,
I'll do full body then.
Yeah. Sort of scratches his chin a bit and says, "Is there a question attached to this?"
Do you have any information on Master Cracks? And I'll point to the image. Clax, is there a specific question you would like to ask? This is more your expertise.
I don't think there's a specific well, yeah, there's a specific question. We need to go have a conversation with Master Crex. He knows somebody that I'm trying to get in contact with, and that person is rather difficult to get into contact with.
Ideally, we're trying to help this Master Crex guy out. We think they're being blackmailed and forced to do some things they don't want to. Like to get him out of that situation, but
Just like our current friend.
So the charitable types, then.
Oh no,
In,
I'm getting something out of it too.
Well,
I don't want to make it sound
The
like this is all
undercommon-
altruistic.
in Undercommon, Drada just goes, they're mostly okay. He's a lot, but they're pretty good. He fully being Clax.
he looks like he's thinking. Spike is in the room as well, having ushered everybody else out. And he's give me this is another, you guys are all participating. I'd say Mouse didn't really participate in this one, so everybody else give me a persuasion check. Unless, Mouse, you have something to add at the tail end that you want to participate as well. Ooh.
I don't have anything.
Well, I think I got my
I'm
natural
sure
20.
because your team might need the help.
I'll chime in and say, yeah, we really just want to talk.
All right, go ahead and roll a d20. Or a persuasion check, I should say.
Above a 10.
Great.
What business do you have with Master Crex? Just out of curiosity. Is it... I mean, if you're sounds like it's somewhat helpful, but like, have you met before? You're just trying to look out for them.
Quax, how much are you comfortable sharing?
Sorry, what was that?
Quax, how much are you comfortable sharing on this topic?
Mr. Hardhold, the situation we're in was we think he's being blackmailed by a very powerful person. So I can reveal information, but then you're going to be at risk of retaliation if things go south. So what we're hoping to do is align with this Master Cracks to get information about said person, because I'm going to bring them to justice, and in so doing, hopefully free Master Cracks. If you want names, I can give you names, but it may scare you off and it may cause more problems than it's worth.
Listen, I don't want problems, but come downstairs. I think there's still some food. And he grabs some of the bottles that had been filled before, and starts to lead you guys down the stairs to the gambling room. You know that, I mean, there was food. A lot of it was bread, so you don't know how often they clean this place up. There was no games tonight, but nonetheless, he's leading you to that room. My headphone's dying. Hold on. Okay. Spike goes ahead and sort of opens the door to the room and ushers you guys in. And as some of you haven't been in this room and you're just sort of familiarizing yourself with the space, you look and see sort of the like automatons deactivated in the corner. And then you hear, as the door closes behind you, he says, Master Cracks, I think you have some visitors here. As he shuts the door.
Oh no.
And says,
no.
They say you've been blackmailed? And you see the face look up. I'm sorry, these guys are in the room. Face look up with not that much recognition. And we'll end the game there, because this next part could go in many ways.
Oh god. Okay.
Terrible.
The fear was that was a season finale. Like, that was the season finale.
I will say you hear the door locking behind you, just in case. So we'll figure out how that goes. Believe it or not, that was the plan the whole time. I just didn't expect it to go so fast.
Go so fast.
I don't want to say the plan like I scripted it, but it like Master Cracks was always here. I just didn't expect you to talk to him today. But that's it for now. So hopefully we can find a time to play and figure this out.
Awesome.
That was